Columbus Police 17.
Hi, it's this lady, my next door neighbor. She is parked in front of my house. She's being petty right now. I'm trying to move and leave. She won't let me leave. She won't let me, like, back my car out. Her car is literally up on my bumper. If I back my car up, I'm going to hit her car. I don't want to hit her car. I'm not trying to cause problem right now, but that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a problem if she doesn't come move her car or if this doesn't get resolved here soon because I got to go. And I'm trying to leave.
Is she home?
She's home. We done asked her multiple times to move her car, and she hasn't came outside to do it, and I went.
Hello, what is your address?
South Warren Avenue.
And what is your name? And what is your phone number?
I don't even know this phone. I don't know this phone number. Hold up, real quick. I'm gonna come back. I gotta get the phone number. Hold on real quick. Hey, what's my number? What's my number? What's my number? What's my number? 614.
Okay. We'll get someone out there for you as soon as we can.
You know how long that's going to be?
No, I do not. As soon as we get officers available.
Because I'm pretty sure if it's not soon, I'm going to hit this lady's car, and it's going to be a problem.
You make your own choices, sir. We'll get someone out there as soon as we can.
All right.
192, I'll take care of that 16 on Warren.
Copy.
Yeah, what's up?
Once more, 2 teens, male black, white hoodie, male black.
Come on now.
Highlighted hoodie.
Come on now.
Just trying to kick in the door of a detached garage.
This is where I park every day. This is where my brother-in-law parks every day. This is our two spaces right here.
Not the caller's garage.
This is her car. Can you come look and see how close she parked to my car?
Okay.
No, I can't get out. This is...
Who's the black car?
This is his car. This is her husband's car, whoever he is. Now, this is mine.
I'll go talk to him.
Now, I'm trying to leave and I can't get out.
Can you guys move one of these for me? Can you guys move one of your cars so you can get out?
I have a picture of them hitting my car.
Okay, when did that happen?
Just when I parked my car behind there, that's the reason I did it. Because she had way too much room for her car to be so close to mine, and when I asked them out the window, they kept walking.
When did this happen?
Once I parked so close to my car, they kept walking.
When was that?
When we pulled...
Hey, listen, chill. Okay. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
When did that happen?
Just, what, like an hour ago, I went in my phone.
Was there any damage?
Yeah, it was touching.
Is there damage?
Go look.
Well, come show me. Come show me.
But show them the scratches from her car to her car. Bumper to bumper.
Are you going to need us out there on Warhol Avenue?
Well, come show me the damage.
You can go, it's right there. Go look
Well,
at the car.
I don't know what your car looks like normally. I need to.
This is their car.
I know. I don't know where the scratches normally are.
Look,
You guys are going to move one of the cars anyway, so someone come out and show me.
I'm not coming in
Ready
there.
to 103, 105, or 108.
Okay. You're trying to tell me that there's damage on your car, but you're not willing to show me where the damage is.
Need MCR on your 34.
What can I do to fix this problem if you're not going to show me anything?
We could have fixed the problem when I asked them out the window to move their car back.
Okay. Well, right now, one of you guys just have to move your car so they get out.
We couldn't get out.
Okay, but right now, you can.
He's not here right now.
Right now you can. Right now what you're doing is you're playing games.
Like they play games.
Okay, but I'm here now. You could have just called instead of trying to take this upon yourself.
Is it illegal? It's not. Go out.
All right.
Go to the house.
I'll see if I can find something then.
No, it's not illegal. Officer, there's no damages on my car. Do you see any scratches on my car besides here? And this is, I did this when I was driving. I did this a long time ago. There's no damages up here. Up here, officer.
Yeah.
There's no. If she say I'm doing it, there's nothing back here that indicates that I did this. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Okay, so
let me look at the other car.
How did I hit the car? You
Pull up on your cameras, Miss Mel. Pull up on your cameras, Miss Mel.
this is my car right here. So, hold on,
They got cameras.
Hold on.
Ask to see it if it's really an issue.
Chill.
Usually they park behind me, and I be trying to leave room for myself to get out because he has a long car. And my car is so short. So I be trying to leave space, and we try to park behind the gate.
Okay. Oh, it is. Hey, guys. Come on. Hey, bub. Go back up.
That's what I'm driving. Listen to what I'm about to say.
Is that your silver car?
This is the same picture you got, Carlos.
Okay.
That is.
Hey, listen.
That's the same picture you got, Carlos.
All right, listen. That car back there is more than 12 inches from the curb. It's about to get towed unless you move it right now. Okay. All right, you got about 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to get my ticket book. Go get your keys right now and move that car. It's got a parking violation on it.
They always 30, bro. I just left, so y'all got out y'all comfort zone just to move that car from there to here.
I'm with you.
And then move it so she can't get out. That's petty.
You guys gonna move this car now? They're moving this one. Go on, hop.
That is wrong. Like, that's petty.
No, I parked right there because I was trying to get that from our house.
Okay. You
Like, bro, it's ways to come knock on the door and talk about it. We said something multiple times, though. Like, on God. Like, we all grown. Like, y'all older than me. Y'all older than me. Why y'all gotta do that?
I shouldn't have warned him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
I should have just towed it. I don't like this stuff, man.
Yeah, me neither. Like, brother. Like,
I would go ahead and move this one a little bit so that if they try it again, you can park.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Ryan, move your car back.
I
think my mic is on. Is my mic on?
About a good 10 feet. Let me show you where
Seasoned professional. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Not much. I'm as chill as I can possibly be tonight, which is interesting. Yeah, I literally
have some of those THC gummies or something.
Oh man, I wish. I just got off the bike. I did an hour-and-a-half ride, and it kind of puts you in a state of mind. You know what I'm talking about?
You know, if we're bragging about working out, I forced myself to go to the local rec center and spend some money on a membership. And I was like, well, I fucking did it. I should do something. And I went and ran. There was a lot of jiggling involved, but I feel good. I feel good. So,
man, when you first start back up again, it sucks a lot.
You know, this one felt good. And it was one of those things where at first I was in the room alone. And then a hot chick came in. And I was like, well, I got to fucking work harder now. So it's the peer pressure, you know?
I just lost track of time. I've got, did I tell you about last weekend, how screwed up my schedule got last weekend? Yeah. If I could rant for like a moment.
It's your show. Go ahead.
It's our show, my friend. And people love hearing about our stupid family drama too. They really do. Especially right at the beginning. It really sets the stage. But it was the first week back to production. After Christmas, because I shut everything down. I didn't have anything queued up and ready to go. So I needed to just come down the basement, buckle down, get shit done. And my wife, I love her to death. She got a babysitter for the kids last Friday night, which is a work night for me. So instead of doing YouTube stuff, I went out to dinner and we had a really nice time. And then Saturday, she arranged for my truck to have a remote start put on it. So we had to get up. Yeah, we had to get up, drop the truck off at the shop, come home. As soon as I sit down on the computer, the Ford dealership calls me, and it was like, "Hey, you're supposed to get a starter, but there's nothing wrong with the starter in your truck." And I was like, "No, it's supposed to be remote start." They're like, "No, we have you down for a new starter," which really sucked. Which meant I had to go back and. So anyway, I am now in serious buckle down mode because I didn't put a video out on the channel this week. Which I feel really bad about. My goal is to put 2 videos out a week, plus the live stream. I'm okay with 1 video a week in the live stream. This week, nothing happened. So It is what it is. Which
The
what
chat's out of control already, man. I'm fucking dying.
Let's see, ventilator. Junk. I just wish we had. Ooh. Yes.
Hey, I got some fancy whiskey today, man.
Ooh, and Bush lattes. Did you decide that live streamings are okay to drink?
No, I just decided I'm an alcoholic, so it's okay to drink anytime.
I think the live streams and podcasts, it's okay. And since you only do them like 6 to 7 days a week, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Smoke weed, have sex, the whole department. Yeah. We are setting the mood. Man. I know. You know.
We don't want that though, because God forbid if I had the fucking my board during this, I'd fucking ruin the live stream. So we'll see.
There's a way to do it if we'd use Zoom, but I would have to do so much organizing on my back end, and if the slightest thing went wrong, we'd lose
on
everything.
Your back end?
I don't think we're gonna be talking about back end a lot tonight. I think we might be talking about people on their knees a lot tonight.
There could be some back ending. Yeah.
There might have been some back ending. I don't know. Is that how choo-choos work? We're talking about trains, locomotive.
There's some coupling and there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
All right. What else is there? A burp contest. Oops. You know what's funny was I read a lot of comments on YouTube. I don't read them all. Especially this last couple of weeks, the channel went bonkers, and I was averaging like 300,000 views a day, and I can't keep up with that. But some of the ones stick out at me. And there was one of a particular officer that everyone on the channel knows very well, and he burps a lot, and people are starting to notice. They're like, this particular officer always burps. It made me laugh. That's why the burp off thing. People are hitting it quickly and with the donations. Thank you very much. There's too many to keep up with. Some money for Lenny because it's dark in the dungeon. Actually, did you change the lighting a little bit?
I actually I upgraded my lighting situation. It's a little fancier now.
I like it. Oh, you went digital.
Yeah. You like that?
I do like that. I like it when you do it that way with your middle finger.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
That's the wrong button, but yeah, it's cool, I guess. I don't
know. What kind of lights did you get?
I don't know. It's like one of those lights that you can fucking do on the Alexa. I don't know. For like a guy like me that's a fucking grown child, it's like fun to play around with this shit, you know?
Actually, I mean, they all look good. That's not bad, especially for your purposes. Nikki dropping in as well. She's at work, but she's dropping in. That is
Nikki.
Fantastic. Hope you're having a good time at work, even though I guarantee she's not washing right now. Let's see. And then Nixie, a matting call?
I think it's a mating call.
Is that me
reading? Made comments.
I wasn't sure if I couldn't read or if he or she, or if they spelled it wrong. There's always a possibility. Yeah. Did you come to the conclusion of how to pronounce this town that we're going to be discussing tonight?
No idea. I'm going to go with Samsonite Police Department.
Well, I had two possible answers on my Facebook post about it today. Yeah. One said the G is silent, so it's Lavarne.
Okay.
The other one said it's whale's vagina. So I'm not sure which one is the right one.
Somebody put it's like the female name Laverne.
Yeah, like Laverne and Shirley.
Okay, Boomer.
The last live stream, because we brought in the South Park stuff, got copyright strike. I had to edit that out. If I didn't, I would put the Laverne and Shirley theme song in right now. That was like growing up, especially when I was little. There were shows that would be on when I was like going to bed, or I could only hear the theme song in the background, and the Laverne and Shirley and the MASH theme song.
Oh,
I remember those both very well as kids. I've gone back and watched a lot of MASH. I've not watched a lot of Laverne and Shirley. I just remember, wasn't there a Lenny and Squeaky? You probably don't. You're probably too young to even know.
I mean, I watched most of MASH reruns when I was a kid, but not Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, Laverne and Shirley was very niche. I'm trying to read this. He's leaving the military soon, joining a small tribal department. Thanks. Oh, that's nice for the honest view and policing. The podcast.
Listen to. I have a podcast with a tribal cop coming up. I think in a week or so. You should check that one out. It's very good, if I may say.
You're just tooting your own horn.
I am. I'll do that. Never mind. I'm gonna leave that joke. Leave that joke for now.
Yeah. Well, in Laverne, Tennessee, nobody toots their own horn because they had somebody that tooted all the horns for them. We're going to cover that in a moment. And then the one and only Michelle Burp. Yes, thank you very much. Nixie did say it was a typo. Apparently, all you do is burn. Ouch. I'll try to lighten up. It's the exercise that went to my brain. I don't think that's it.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm gonna go with love vagina.
Love vagina.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm still trying to catch up. You guys are nuts tonight. Alrighty. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. That's what she said.
We need somebody to do a "That's what she said" counter today. I think that's 3, if I'm correct.
Oh, did I miss a couple?
I don't know. Maybe not. But we should. Somebody should keep track of "That's what she said" for us in the chat.
Who is going to do it? I need a regular. We've got some.
That's what she said.
I don't know if I can pull out a scratch pad, but I'll forget because I don't even remember what we're talking about half the time.
That'll happen.
You were going to try to squeeze that one in. That's what she said.
Beat me to it.
That's what she said.
I like all the people saying fucking, all right, Michelle's going to do it. Everybody else is saying, not me, but.
Really?
Yeah.
Tim, what I highlighted it. Thank you for the donation. I was in the Army. I was an Army military policeman. And don't hate on me. I'm not even going to get into all that. But yeah, that's the branch I was in. I am so relaxed right now. What are we going to talk about?
Well, it appears there was some kind of incident this week involving a Tennessee Police Department, which that was not the plan to discuss on this podcast, but I don't know how we not talk about it.
Yeah, it definitely got hijacked.
Yeah.
But like this is literally what everybody is talking about. I can't scroll through Instagram for more than 2 seconds without seeing a Megan Hall meme, right?
Yep.
For good reason. So how should we cover the article? Because this article is kind of broken down in between the dudes.
The dudes?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
it's quite scandalous.
It is quite scandalous. I think just to be fair, because we're going to talk about it, we should probably break it down a little bit instead of because there's so many dudes involved. I can't remember which dude did what. It's not good.
Oh yeah, we're gonna cover this.
Allie's on fucking fire tonight, by the way.
She is. Alrighty, I'll start off. Even though I don't read good on demand. Says 5 Tennessee police officers fired for having sex on duty. Excuse me. Report reveals woman officer at the center of the investigation hosted a Girls Gone Wild hot tub party where she took off her top and had vodka poured down her throat. Patrol officer.
Sound effects. Yeah.
That was actually as good as it gets. Can I can try to read this in a sexy voice.
Yeah.
Patrol officer Megan Hall, who is married, was fired last month for engaging in a sexual relationship with multiple men on the Laverne Police Force. That doesn't work. Hall allegedly performed oral sex and sent explicit photos to fellow officers. She's also accused of taking off her top while intoxicated at a family boat party
I thought this was America.
There's so many parallels that I can draw on some of these things too. 8 officers face action so far with 5 and 3 suspended. Okay, so that's the breakdown.
Yeah.
8 officers with 5 and 3 suspended. An extensive 20-page report revealed in the investigation's findings. Some of this, and I chose this particular publication for a reason, because the UK Daily Mail is like very salacious, and I thought it'd be more entertaining. But some of this is a little clickbaity and just things that I don't necessarily care about, like the off-duty. Oh, I don't even know. I don't know where to begin on it, because some of this reminds me of Police Week stuff.
So what you're telling me is I should have went to Police Week.
Yeah, I've never been, but I've heard.
Oh, I've heard fucking stories. Yeah,
yeah.
I've heard some hellacious stories.
And like the whole, she took her top off at a family boat party. I think that is covered down here later. I think the only reason that came up is because some of the guys' wives were there. I would not recommend, if you're having an affair with your coworkers, that you participate in that affair in the presence of their spouse. That might get you in trouble. I think that's good advice. Aside from the advice of not actually having affairs with your...
Can we go on a side quest really quick before we continue on with the article?
Please.
I want to talk about Police Week a little bit, something I've never went to, and I've thought about going as a vendor now. Here's my thing. Police Week, I don't think the meaning of Police Week is to be a fucking orgy, right? There's events honoring the fallen and stuff. I get it. Fucking have a good time, meet people, whatever. But remember, you're representing yourself and your department and your fucking policing community. Now, I will say, though, and this is something we'll probably get into later, is I've seen a lot of comments on these memes like, oh, only in a police department. I don't think so. I think any fucking convention, right? Accountants Week in DC, they're all fucking each other too, because that's what we fucking do. But I'm just saying, like, there's a time and place, man. And I'm a fairly open person. You fucking do whatever you want, But maybe not cheat on your spouse during Police Week. I don't know. That's just me.
You guys are going too fast. I have a strong feeling that Saturday Night Live will be doing a sketch on this. What's funny? I was going to tag team on the.
That's what she said.
I know, but before, like, you actually had a good point. You're like, every convention has these things, and I can attest to this. Not that I was a participant, but I've been a vendor at some of these things. Prior to becoming a police officer. It was like my second job out of college. I was actually a financial analyst for a municipal bond underwriting firm. This is incredibly exciting stuff. I wrote very large municipal bonds. One of the bonds I wrote was for Franklin County for like $84 million. And what these municipal bond underwriters do is there's conventions just like there is for everything else. We had one, I think it was at the Columbus Convention Center. And my my brokerage firm, we actually had like a booth, and then we had a suite upstairs, like a 4-room suite in one of the hotels that we had like a happy hour for at the end of the night, where we had a margarita fountain and some other stuff. And the people who attended these conferences were like county auditors, county recorders, like financial type people, a lot of like old fat people. And there was debauchery happening. Like, it was wild, because I was stone sober, because I had to go to work during the day and then at night go and do this stupid margarita fountain thing for these weirdos. There was even, it was like, who was it? There was even like dog wardens. I don't know. It was like all these county type officials that were there, but it was wild. There was like chicks that were way out of guys' leagues sitting on their laps in our little thing, and it was weird. It happens everywhere.
Yeah. So I think police kind of take this ownership, and I've talked about the police bubble, and I'm not going to go in the fucking rant on that, but we kind of think, oh, this only happens with us. No, it fucking happens everywhere.
Yeah.
There's sex scandals everywhere. And, you know, I don't want to sound like a prude or anything, but I think it's just kind of like the sign of our society, you know? But, I mean, let's be honest. This shit's been happening since fucking Pompeii, you know? Like,
Yeah.
people are horny. They fuck everybody.
But I also do think that there is an element of the type of people drawn to police work that this thing, it might have gotten a little bit more wild than it would have with other professions, because there's like a very like alpha driven, testosterone fueled environment at times. I don't know. I do think there is an element of that, because I just trying to figure out where to start with all this. One of my thoughts with this whole thing, and we'll kind of, when we go through it, we'll kind of figure it out. But I was talking to my wife about this, and I saw a lot of comments on Instagram posts and Facebook posts and stuff about this from like some of the weirdo, like wokey type people. And they were saying, oh, why is everybody focusing on the woman? You know, all these men were participants as well. This story is a little bit different, if you ask me. And it's like, and any female police officer will tell you, and I feel bad for a lot of young, especially attractive women that get into police work, because the minute they hit the street, they've got like 40 dudes chasing their tail. It is what it is. It's an unavoidable force of nature. It happened in the military. It happens in the police force. And there are some girls who, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, they like the attention, but they're single. They're looking for a future spouse, whatever. So they date around in the police department, and they get a reputation that they might not deserve. Right. They're looking to date people. These men that are surrounding them aren't looking to date. They're just looking to hook up, and a girl gets a reputation. Yep. This particular case, to me, it sounds like she was the one advancing on the dudes a lot of the time. And maybe that's the way it was written, but is that the way you kind of took it?
Yeah, that's the way I perceived it. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but there's a social media celebrity, well, kind of, named Officer Autumn. And we usually make fun of her a lot, and for a lot of different reasons, but I'm not going to get into that today. But she posted a video that got shared about being the new female officer in a department. And she actually, I think, kind of put it well. It's like, you're new, you have all these guys giving you attention that maybe you wouldn't normally get. And so it feels good, right? And so, you know, but it made sense to me how she was describing it, kind of like you were talking about. Mm-hmm. But I think what's different here is, like, I've seen it, right? Where like a new girl gets hired with the police department, you know, attractive guy hits on her, like, oh yeah, I'm divorced or whatever. And, you know, turns out he's still married or he's separated or whatever. But he walks out of that squeaky clean, and she gets that reputation. The way this article is written is, it's like she was kind of the one pushing this out, and it, you know, and multiple people at once, not just she chased one guy and it failed, she went to another guy. It was like, all this was happening around the same time period. I mean, she was only caught for like a year or two, I think.
Yeah, I didn't even get. I saw somewhere where it mentioned how long she'd been on, but I can't remember. There was one thing I wanted to answer. I think it was Moreland. He asked if we'd ever been to Police Week. I have not, and I don't want to out some of my friends as far as like how I know them in my working relationship. But I know a couple people that they go to Police Week every single year, no matter what, and they've been doing this for 20 years because of the different parts of my organization that they work for. Let's just say there's certain people that always go to Police Week. One of them found out like 10 years after the fact that he had a child he wasn't aware of that was conceived at Police Week. Yeah. And this particular guy, he always had stories from Police Week. That was pretty much the reason he went. And I know for a fact that there's a lot of people just like him. So that's where my opinion of it comes from. Lenny has heard very similar things.
Yep. Exactly. Well, not
so
a child being born, but it's still early.
Oh, and it would be like he would be on the phone with him, like, "Hey, I love you, buddy." I'm like, dude, you didn't know this kid for 10 years. You didn't even know he existed, but whatever. He's trying. But I thought this was a funny comment. She's like, "Can you imagine all the other dudes' wives?" And the dudes are like, "I swear, honey, I didn't sleep with her." That would be hard.
That's what she said.
That would, I can't imagine. Especially, like, I mean, luckily I do this all the time. So I'm not out working like special duty gigs and stuff. I know of a couple of officers. One of them is an okay friend of mine, someone I know pretty well. He was telling his wife that he was out working special duty. And I found out about this not too long ago. He was telling his wife he was out working special duty. He actually had an apartment and had a girlfriend that was living in the apartment with him. And he had told this other woman, this all happened during 2020, told the other woman that because of COVID, or no, he told his wife, that's what it was, told his wife that because of COVID and he was in the public all day long, he didn't want to expose her, so he had to stay away from the house. And then he got a girlfriend and moved in with her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, nuts. I don't remember why I told that story. There was something. Oh, but I don't work out of the house. I'm always here in my basement. So like I wouldn't have to worry about if there was some girl in the department that was running around blowing dozens of dudes. I wouldn't have to worry about being implicated because I'm always home.
That's disgusting. Where? This you missed the joke. It's all right. Move on.
Oh.
Yeah, move on. Sorry. I'm going to take the L on that one. That was me. Not a good joke. I mean, it was a good joke, maybe. It didn't land. It didn't land.
So, on to the story. 4 police officers from the Tennessee town Laverne were fired for allegedly having sex on duty with a female cop, who was also fired and accused of taking off her top at what the local mayor called a Girls Gone Wild hot tub party. Patrol Officer Megan Hall of Laverne is at the forefront of the investigation, as it was revealed in December she engaged in a sexual relationship with at least 4 male officers. Fellow patrol officer Juan Lugo Perez, some guy named Powell, Detective Shields, and McGowan admitted to the accusations, according to the report. I'm going to skip ahead. Hall, who is married, is also accused of revealing her breasts while at a steamy family Memorial Day boat party. Some other guy that I don't know how to pronounce his name, who was suspended, and these other 2 guys. Let's see. The hot tub party. Oh, these are just people that said... Oh.
I'm guessing they got suspended because they didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, which is kind of... something that happens at a hot tub party off duty, I don't really care. Like,
I think the issue is it was like supposed to be a family event or whatever.
Was it an organized family event by the department?
Yeah, but I would still argue, being a police officer, you should show good judgment. And if it's a semi-public event, it's a dumb idea. I mean, yeah. I would even go on the deep end. Let's just say you're at a friend's house with 3 other cops and you're flashing your tits in the hot tub. It's not a great idea. It's poor judgment. Am I right?
No, it's definitely poor judgment. But I think it's added to this story as more of just a salacious thing. And it's also the totality of everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it goes into her character, I guess you could say. But yeah, suspended for lying. I do think that they cover that a little bit in the article. They had a policy against undisclosed. What? You have to disclose your sexual relationships in the department?
I think within the department you're supposed to. I think my department had that too, just to make sure you weren't supervising somebody or working on the same team. It was why they had that policy.
That's weird. I wonder if if it's part of your contract, that's something that a lot of people don't understand about being a police officer, is that there are certain, privacy things, this, that, and the other, that, police officers are afforded all of those privacies and all that stuff. But often it's written into your employment contract that you as a union member sign. And if it's written into that contract, then you no longer have those rights. Is that an adequate way of saying that? So if their contract says, and it's similar to like secondary employment. Like for this YouTube channel and stuff, I had to submit secondary employment, tell them, hey, you know, I want to make money doing this, yada, yada, yada. They can approve or deny it. But man, I it's weird because you signed that contract agreeing to it. But I would wonder how that stuff would fly if it was challenged, because there's legitimate police couples too, you know, like I have a couple of good friends that are a police couple, and they're great people. They have a good relationship. If they just didn't want to go public with their relationship and they just didn't want people in their business, they're trying to keep it kind of secret, I would respect that.
Yeah, well, and again, I think that's one of those things. You would hope your department, if you just went to who you needed to go to, say, hey, we're not wanting to make a big deal out of this, but we're dating. That should just end there, kind of thing.
But you know, it never does.
I know, but I'm just saying, in a perfect world, that's how it should work. I don't have an issue with policies like that. I think I think I've seen it, and I think one of the places I worked privately had like, hey, don't fuck your coworkers kind of thing. Fair or not, that's part of the policy. But I think on a police department, especially if they're subordinates, because I mean, there was a situation where I worked where a guy was a sergeant and he started fucking the new girl while he was still married, but they took her off his team so there wouldn't be an issue. Like, I would be pissed as like a patrol guy if the fucking new girl's banging the sarge. I mean, you'd automatically think there's some kind of issue, you know?
No, I think, I don't know. It's weird. It's something I haven't really put a lot of thought into. It's like there's right and wrong, and there's moral quandaries, and then there's like legal things that you can do, you know? And I am careful about the legal things. I would like to believe that you could, especially with police officers, they would just do the right thing and not sleep with their chain of command, or once that happens, they move around a little bit. But
you would hope. Doesn't always happen.
Well, and I'm trying to think if I know of any direct supervisors and couples on my department. It's a large department, you know, but also like we're in a world where, like, let's say you want to get that assault squad job, like you want to be an assault squad detective, at least that's the way it is here, and your husband is the lieutenant in charge of that section. That's a very desirable job, right? Like, that's a career opportunity that one of you has to forego simply because you're together. I don't know. It's hard.
That's what she said. But yeah.
It was more of a thing in the military than it would be in police work, as far as I'm concerned. But there is definitely, my only concern is legally. Anyway, moving on. And there's the whole, I think it's already been said in the chat like 1,000 times, like, you don't shit where you eat. And like you've talked about it on your podcast before too, where you have to be very careful, especially in this world, having any kind of relationship with somebody, because if it goes bad, it can go very, very bad. And I don't know. So here's what she looks like. Her face is everywhere right now. It was actually in a lot of places.
That's what she said.
Prior to this, some of this stuff blows my mind. So let's see. That doesn't work. I don't like how they don't match up the part of the article with the face. So K-9 Officer Larry Holliday and Patrol Officer Gavin Schuberl were suspended and charged with sexual harassment after exchanging sexual images with Hall. That is interesting.
That is weird. How is that sexual harassment? I suppose if she's like saying she didn't want it, but if they're I mean, I get it being against policy or whatever, but if they're knowingly just sharing pictures amongst each other because they're fucking horn dogs, how is that a sexual harassment thing?
Yeah, it's probably some weird thing in the law about I don't know, some weird thing.
Is it like charged like with a crime, or with charged with like a policy violation?
Suspended and charged with sexual harassment. I don't know.
I would say that's wording. I would say they were charged, like that's what they were charged with, as far as like that was the allegations.
Yeah.
They're British. They don't fucking know how to write articles.
Yeah.
Okay?
They don't understand America. They don't understand how our freedoms work here.
Mm-hmm.
So the hot tub party, also attended by several male officers' wives, I think that's one of the keys that blew this story open, was hosted on state stats boats. Some guy that I can't pronounce was pouring vodka down Hall's throat moments before she took her top off. The report reads, Hall's top came off and Stats helped put it back on because he was trying to protect her. That's what I tell my wife when I'm groping naked women. I'm like, honey.
I mean, I don't know if he was actually being a good dude, like, wait, what the fuck are you doing? Or if he was like, honk, honk. I just don't know.
They were probably both equally hammered.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's just kind of salacious. It's horrible. Like, also, it shows you how people absolutely lose their minds when sex is involved. Like, and how many people, I don't know. It's like, does she have that much power over people?
Here's the thing.
You know, I'll have to say, I agree with this comment. Thank you for your service, Stats. Yeah. Protecting this young, innocent woman from having her breasts revealed to the wives of all your police friends.
I don't know. I don't get it. Like, and I've been married. I've been married for a long time. Just recently celebrated our 13th wedding anniversary. And I was with her for 5 years before that. So I've been off the market for a long time. I get it. Everybody's horny. But, like, at some point, just go in the fucking shower and jerk off, man. Like, it's not worth your career. I don't get it. Like, and I know a lot of people are like, she's not even that cute. Like, I don't think she's bad looking. It doesn't matter. I don't think she's bad looking by any sense. I would say she, like, is cute. Somebody said she looked like she's like a teenager. I don't know. But when guys are presented with I'm just going to say it, an easy opportunity, a lot of people can't resist. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah. I don't know how graphic I want to get. But I was
Do it. Do it.
Well, it's just like I imagine her as being, well, like, God, I'm trying to think of the way to address this. Like, most of my experience with this kind of stuff was in the military. And like there's a lot of comments and discussion about whether or not women should be in the military, blah, blah, blah. I have generally been a defender of women in all of these kind of environments, with a caveat. The military was a little bit different because you're with each other 24/7. And I think that there is definitely a percentage of women that go into these fields because they know that there are men everywhere. And I call it, like in the military, I call it an all-you-can-eat pennies buffet. I'm like, that's what they're there for, you know? And I think she might be one of those people that's here for the buffet, and she was very hungry, and she was just always like, gimme. And it's hard. If there's a chick grabbing on you and you're one of these, it's hard. It's a hard thing for a man. It legitimately is. But
that's what she said.
Yes. But that's what separates us. Like, we had this conversation before because I said it in one of my videos about criminals and police officers committing crimes. But just as humans, and as like a married person, that's what sets you apart from just being an animal, right? Like being able to control yourself. So.
Yeah, well, and I don't want to get too far ahead, but I think it's relevant with the conversation. And I'm not sure if it's in this article, but I've seen a reference in other places where she said that they were in an open marriage. with her husband, which, hey, it's
He
2023,
disagreed with
man. People are doing weird shit anyway, if that's what you're into. But if they actually were, I don't know if he signed up for Five Guys. Maybe she's like, hey, is it okay if I get Five Guys? And he was thinking like she's gonna bring home burgers one night. She never did, and he always wondered about it. Well, turns out it was Five Guys at work. So I don't know.
Yeah. She's like, hey babe, I'm gonna get Five Guys every day. She loves the meat.
That's Arby's, but sure.
I don't care.
Ask me how I know all the fast food slogans. Anyway.
Yeah, so this is I think it's the same event. The report states that Hall's top came off, and then Stats tried to cover her back up. Hall then pulled. How are we gonna pronounce this guy's name? Magliaco? Samsonite. She then pulled Samsonite into the restroom and asked if he wanted to F***. I don't know what that means. Does anybody know what F*** means? Then later gave him oral sex when they got off the boat. So Stats was pouring vodka down her throat and protecting her boobs. And then it says that she pulled this guy into the restroom. That's why I thought she was kind of an aggressive sex hound. She ordered the meat lover supreme. Hall was open about the relationships with the other officers and once bragged to Samsonite about Officer Powell's D*** after performing oral on him while on duty, according to the reports. So
this is why they were fired, by the way. The on-duty stuff, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I think also they were fired out of fairness. I think that she is the aggressive one here that caused a lot of this problem. People can disagree with me. That's how I'm reading this. So but if you just fired her for spoiling the what's the word I'm looking for? The virtuosity of these four fine young gentlemen, I don't think that would fly. I think you got to fire them all. Yeah. But it's really dirty that she's talking to all the dudes about all the dudes, and they're just like, I'll do it too. I have a problem with that.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
I made a meme about, everybody's reading this article. No. I shared this one, I'm pretty sure. But I made a meme. It was basically the idea behind it was, everybody's laughing at this, and then they're like, oh shit, I remember that train I ran on the during Christmas. During the Christmas party. And I think if people are seeing this and they're involved in stuff like this, there should be a fucking wake up call, right? You got to be fucking careful about this shit. Oh, it's got to be more than that, don't you think? That's what she said. But that distracted me. This should be a wake up call to the shit, right? If you're married, if you want to fuck around, get a divorce and then go fuck around. You know what I mean? And again, go fuck people that aren't on your department.
This is getting spicy in here.
Is that a chick?
Yeah.
Or a dude?
No, it's a chick.
Hey, you can DM me if you're horny. Just kidding.
Spicy. As we talk about being above all this.
Yeah. Well, we're all human, right? We're all human. I don't know.
Let's see.
Fire there. I don't know. Let's just fucking open up all marriages. Everybody fucks everybody. It won't be a problem.
Well, we're not allowed to encourage morality. So that's what we're being told all the time, right?
Yeah, but this is beyond be a human, right? We always talk about
I'm kidding.
Fuck you. Hold on a second. Let's go back to this comment though. West Virginia would be real mad that you said this. That's their thing, okay? Alabama.
I have to agree.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
This is a good question. Oops. About the lieutenant knowing what's going on, not being disciplined. We're going to finish this particular article. There's a little bit of and I know that Lenny probably has the same stories. I've heard stories about people getting it on duty. Like I've heard of people getting locked in the back of police cruisers before. I've heard people getting locked in the back of paddy wagons before. I've heard, rumors and stories. I've heard stories about officers walking in on a male and female officer and they didn't know exactly what was happening, but they sure thought something was happening. Like a lot of that is rumors, and a lot of rumors are not true around the police community. It's just like Lenny says all the times, it's like high school with guns sometimes.
Yeah.
So if some of this was brought to the lieutenant's attention and he wasn't like truly aware of it, maybe he was looking into it. What's the word I'm looking for? Without being, because you got to be careful too. If you hear that these two people are banging and you confront them, you could also get yourself an EEO complaint. So I don't know. I don't know what the lieutenant knew. I don't know what his responsibility was. Now, if you get some kind of corroborating evidence that something's happening on duty, yeah, you absolutely have a right or an obligation to do something about that. But I don't know. And maybe this investigation was the right thing to do. Maybe he had a hand in that as well. I think that would be appropriate. Just as a lieutenant being like, hey, this is too much for me to handle. I'm going to report it to the proper people. Like we have internal affairs for that. For this, I guess someone posted in the chat earlier, this department has 60 officers. I would assume that our internal affairs has 4 or 5 people. They can do this investigation independently. And like, I know the way my internal affairs at least used to work before they kind of disbanded them. They would do undercover operations against police officers and stuff like that all the time. So that could be one of the reasons that the lieutenant wasn't punished for it.
Interesting. Allie asked how many people you think didn't get caught. Do you know there's a few outliers? There has to be, right? I would say at least 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah.
But, well, I don't know, though. I mean, it is not that big of a department. I mean, if she gave up some people, I wonder why she wouldn't give up others. But, yeah, it could be more for sure.
Yeah. And then the same person, what's her name? Talina? Is that your name? I get it. If he was at the hot tub party, but that's not on duty, I don't know. Like there's a lot that we don't know, and I'm not going to really speculate on. A lot of people are getting in very big trouble for this, so I'm going to kind of go with that. I worked in San Diego. There was a captain sucking the chief's dick in the gym. They were back to work the next day. All right, good for them. I don't know.
You can email me the video.
Yeah.
If I want to see it. I mean, judgment call, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see. I might. Spencer, we're going to get through this and then we'll figure out what we're going to talk about next. Let's see. Police looking for jobs. They're retiring. All right. Moving on. So this one, she was bragging about different people's D's. Durham and Stats claimed they did not have an inappropriate relationship with Hall. Because remember, Stats was just trying to cover up her boobies. Powell, who was married, initially denied having a sexual relationship with Hall several times and claimed that everybody knows she has multiple partners. He later confessed. I wish they would have the pictures near the thing. Okay, yeah. So this is Powell. He looks like what is it, like the old Dallas police chief? I don't remember. He applied for my
the guy that's supposed to have the giant hammer that she was bragging about.
Oh.
Or was it?
Yep. It was Officer Powell. Yep. So this guy is slinging some meat. He's got a tomahawk. I can't imagine being any of the people involved in this.
Oh, God.
Let's see. So Samsonite told investigators on December 13th that he and his wife had been in an open relationship with Hall since the spring of 2022. He revealed one day Hall's husband walked in on her and his wife and wasn't on board with the open relationship. At one party, Hall and Samsonite's wife started kissing, and Hall's husband came into the room and was upset. So there's a lot of freaks on this department. A lot of dudes and their wives. that could also be why she felt like she could take her top off at the hot tub party with other men's wives present, right? Because she was sleeping with multiple of them. So
I heard a story from my very first sergeant out of FTO. I hope he's still around. I should reach out to him. Good dude. He retired shortly after I started. But he told me he worked for a police department back in the day before he got to our department. And it was a small, like, 10-man department. And it was basically a swingers club. And this would have been back in the 80s. If you aren't swinging, are you even policing? Hold on. Let me call my wife real quick. Yeah, we got to start swinging. Okay. Cool. All right, cool. He was saying that it was basically a swingers club, and him and his wife were like, what the fuck? And they never got involved in it. But, you know, to take kind of a serious step at this kind of stuff, like not the sexual stuff, but relationships, that's when people get fucking, like, a lot of those DV homicides that we get are from this type of stuff. And as a cop, you should fucking know better. I know in Greeley, Colorado, there was like a love triangle between some cops, and, you know, one of them ended up killing one of them and all this crazy shit. So granted, I mean, it happens a lot. I'm sure, you know, just because you're gonna suck somebody else's dick, you're not gonna get murdered. But people get fucking weird about that shit, you know? I don't know. It's weird to me, man.
Well,
You would fucking even mess with that, knowing what you know as a cop.
And I don't know. There's just so much bad that could come from it that everybody's with the same chick. It's like my brother and I used to fight over who got to play in a Nintendo back in the day. Can you imagine what the roll calls were like?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Let's say, so at one party, so that's the kissing part, Hall appeared to keep her sexual relationships a secret from her husband and asked others to borrow money to book hotels. So they must not get paid. Actually, they don't get paid very much in Tennessee. Samsonite told investigators that he was concerned for Hall's mental health since she became heavily intoxicated at his house party in early December and drove home drunk. Hall voiced harmful thoughts on multiple occasions and said that she should not be alone, one report reads. Samsonite reported his concerns to the department on December the 8th.
So I wonder if maybe Samsonite started all this. And that's something I wanted to go on a brief rant about, if that's okay. I got a couple things I would like to talk about. So all of these guys, and I don't know if she expressed this to the other guys, but if people know she's not stable and they're still fucking doing shit with her, you're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, you're taking advantage of that situation, I think. Again, this is, we're guessing here a little bit because we don't know all the details, but I like that this guy actually reported it. But if people knew about this shit and she's taking part in these behaviors, why are you letting her go further down the drain, I guess, so to speak? But I did want to talk about the mental health stuff to an extent, because I've kind of laid off a little bit on the memes on my page. Not exactly all the time. I have a few I haven't even posted because I'm like, you know what? We got our point across. But people are like, you know, what about her mental health? I've had a couple people send me messages and a couple comments about that. Here's my thing. You do something like this and you get caught, people are gonna crack jokes about it. Okay. The last thing that I would want in the world is for her to do something that she can't take back. But where's the line where you say, well, she's having a hard time, so we can't talk about it? She blew like 5 dudes on her department. Like, there has to be some level of accountability, right? And that's the thing. As a cop, you work in the public eye and you have to expect these things. We've all seen these situations that get fucking blown out of proportion. Maybe blown was the wrong word, but they get blown out of proportion and we're all like, this is fucking bullshit. The cop didn't do anything wrong and they're being harassed and all this shit. This is, to me, a lot different. And I guess if she happens to be one of the people watching, Monica Lewinsky blew the president's dick and she's doing just fine. She'll be all right. She can, hopefully she can have a good life and figure her shit out. But I think, people want police to hold each other accountable, I think the rain of shit on her and those other guys, that's a way of keeping people accountable. I know not all of us disagree. You know, people are like, oh, whatever they do at home is on them. Okay, we can debate that. But I think this is a way to hold each other accountable with the jokes and stuff. Am I off base with that?
No. I hadn't thought too much about it. I did see, and I almost posted it in our group chat the other day, but I didn't want to bring it down. But I legitimately, with like all of the memes and stuff that are out there, I was like, I wonder how long until she kills herself. And I'm serious about that, you know? And I didn't even read into like well, here's the thing too. They're saying that they're worried about her mental health status, whatever. If there's a chick that's literally dragging dudes into the bathroom and fucking them and sucking their dicks after taking her shirt off around a whole bunch of police officers' wives, yeah, she's crazy. You know what I mean? And if she's doing that and she's telling you about all the dudes that she's been with on the department, like your buddies, and she's bragging about how big their dicks are and all that other stuff, she's crazy. It doesn't take a doctor to figure that out.
Yeah, that's not normal. Like, that's beyond normal horny.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a real serious issue there, a serious disconnect from reality that's happening in her head. Everybody knows that. And like you said, those guys are kind of scummy because they fucking knew it. You know, you don't take advantage of people that have mental health problems like that. And they were absolutely doing that. You especially as cops, you should stand up and be like, hey, this isn't healthy. This isn't good for you. You know, you need to stop. And especially because they all knew. Like, I could understand, you know, humans are humans, you know, stuff happens. A dude hooks up with her, thinks that he's the only one hooking up with her. He's having an affair on his wife. It is what it is. But then you start finding about all the other ones. You got to be like, hey, like, this is really bad. I don't know. I'm with you there. And like, I've said this about other people too. I'm trying to think. There was a football player a couple years ago that everybody was ragging on so hard. It was a quarterback, and I can't remember. Oh, Johnny Manziel. I made the same comment about him too. When everybody was just shitting on him hard and all that, I was like, oh, I wonder how long until Johnny Manziel kills himself. I don't think he's done it, but he sure seemed unstable for a little while, and I don't like to see it. But on the flip side, also, like you said, doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about this stuff, because this is something this should be a wake-up call to everybody. It's insanity, just the sheer scope and scale of this particular thing, about how, I mean, everybody on the department knew about this. Like, there was the one comment, you know, about the lieutenant that he knew, and let's not kid around. Every single person on the department knew that this was happening. There is no way that they didn't know. So, yeah, giant wake-up call. We should definitely talk about it. And humor is the way we cope with things, right? So, yeah, it is what it is. And I also, and one of the things I want to talk about after, I'm going to spoil it a little bit, is the female officer that was dancing with the lieutenant at the New York, was it the Christmas party in 2021?
Yeah.
I still see jokes about that, and I'm kind of not cool with still seeing jokes about that. And we're going to talk about why here in a little bit. I think that we should have our fun with it. After a little while, the fun wears off. This needs to be a cautionary tale for all of time. You know, maybe stop the jokes, not stop telling the story, if that makes any sense.
Maybe. I don't know. It's tough.
But I think it's still funny for a short time.
What's the line in the sand? You know, what's okay and not. I mean, I got to be honest, and I made a post about this today, is as weird as this sounds, and I meant this kind of sincerely, it's kind of unified the policing community a little bit. Because everybody's like, holy shit, you know? And like, let's be honest, the memes are fucking funny. I have seen so many fucking funny memes over the last couple days. It seems like every time I fucking scroll through, I'm fucking crying, laughing because it's funny. It's not funny for them, and I get that too. But you have to be responsible. And I want to talk about this comment real quick, and I had a question to ask you because I was thinking about this today with something else. But Pink brought up that low self-esteem and childhood trauma. I'm not by any means a psychologist or anything like that, but I spent a lot of days listening to Dr. Drew and Loveline back in the day, and that was one of the things I thought immediately with this is she has some kind of trauma as a kid that is kind of manifested in this. Or somebody brought up too, manic depression, if it's not diagnosed, or bipolar rather, that's one of those things where they're like hypersexual too. So that could be part of the issue. But I had this phrased better and I should have wrote it down, but I was thinking about this today and we talk about this. Hey girl, we talk about this idea of it's okay not to be okay, right? We all agree with that, right? It's okay not to be okay. But I think some people use that as an excuse to do shitty things or to justify their shitty things. It's like, well, I was going through a hard time and I don't know, like I'm tired of brushing things off because I've seen where people kind of poo-poo and cry about things. We're like, well, I was going through a hard time. It's like, okay, you cheated on your wife. Like people can forgive or whatever, but you don't just get a pass because you were having a bad week. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying there? Mm-hmm.
Well, and there's also cheating on your wife and making a mistake and then doing it over and over and over and over again. Yeah. You know? But like back to where you started with that is one of your favorite shows from back in the day, right?
Fucking love it. Yeah. I've heard there's reruns on YouTube. I've been thinking about checking those out. I'm sure
there are. Low self-esteem, I'm 100% on board, especially in this world of like Instagram and Facebook and everybody's a model and all this other kind of stuff. The way women get attention now is way different than women got attention 20 years ago. The trauma thing, I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but I think that people abuse that reasoning a little bit. That's just my personal take. I'm not saying that there aren't some people that have dealt with some trauma that are really fucked up afterwards, but I think we're conditioning people as a society that if they're faced with some trauma, they then hold on to that trauma for fucking ever and they never let it go and they bring it up all the time as they're like, because we encourage people to be victims right now. And so everyone's looking, they're like, oh, finally, I've got my victimhood. Like I get to hang on to this thing for the rest of my life. And I'm now traumatized for the rest of my life. When we need to teach people how to deal with trauma and then recover from trauma. So I'm very reluctant to throwing that out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Based on what I know, like there's some issues where it kind of, especially if you're like little, it kind of fucks with your wiring internally. Like it kind of, I think that trauma can set people up for failure. But I agree that people are like, again, it's okay to be not okay, but then they do all this shitty stuff and they're like, well, it's because this happened to me. We need to start being like, hey, I get this bad thing happened to you and like you've made some mistakes, but like there's no accountability whatsoever in our society because of shit like that.
I also have I have two people that I know very well that went overseas with me, that both came home and did some really fucked up stuff, and they both blamed it on trauma from when we were overseas. And I know what they dealt with, and they have no excuse for their actions. Let's just put it that way.
But we do deal with things differently, right?
Well, we do, but trust me.
Okay, I'm taking your word for it, but I'm throwing that out. Is we do deal with things differently. And Pink brought up a good point, and I've realized it too, personally. Sometimes it's too late, right? And you're like, oh fuck, you've sucked 5 dicks, and you're like, oh fuck, it's too late. But not you, Pink, me. I mean, no. But but there is an element to that too. But I think what I'm trying to get at too is you have to kind of accept that like you really fucked up, and you can't blame it necessarily on what you did, and or you can't blame it on your trauma or whatever. Like I'll fucking use me as an example. I'm going to call it my breakup with policing. And I think it was 2021 is when I left. And it was fucking hard on me, and it was hard, to say the least. And I can see now, probably for about 9 months to a year afterwards, I was a fucking dick and terrible to be around. I didn't realize that at the time, but reflecting on it now, and I can say, I don't want to be like, oh, well, it's because I left and I had a hard time with it. Yeah, I can maybe point towards it as a factor, but I'm still responsible for my own actions. All right, I fucked up. All I can do is get better, and I think that's the issue is you see you fucked up, acknowledge you fucked up, stop fucking up. I've solved everybody else's problems. Yeah. Thank you. You can PayPal me.
But, and back to Megan Hall, I also, these are all good. We're tangenting a little bit. We're getting too serious for tonight. Remember, we did 2 very serious streams in a row, and we're going to be a little lighthearted tonight. That's our goal.
Okay, not bad. We'll just drink a little bit.
We'll just get hammered and cry ourselves to sleep later on. Another reason that I do like the low self-esteem thing, but I think that's also when it gets to her point, that's like a serious, she needs serious counseling to deal with it. Maybe not medication though, because we medicate everybody. But the low self-esteem, not getting attention from guys, because a lot of people have said she's not even that cute, right?
Not me, by the way. Remember that.
Oh, I know. But I'm talking about what the general public is saying, and what she's probably been dealing with her whole life is dudes not being attracted to her, telling her she's not that cute. All of a sudden she becomes a cop, and cops are used to being around dudes all the time and nasty, disgusting women that have sores all over their faces and stuff. And all of a sudden she's flirty. She becomes a lot cuter. She gets, that is a boost to her self-esteem. She gets addicted to that boost, starts really going after these guys. I think that's more likely to be what happened than it was like some random trauma that happened in her past. I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor.
Hopefully she goes on Dr. Phil and answers all our questions. Is he still around? I don't even know if he does a thing.
I don't know. I think I see highlights from him on the internet from time to time.
Somebody
get her on the podcast.
If somebody knows her, I would love to talk to her on the podcast. I'd give her a fair shake too. So
that would be
like
cool.
I did the OnlyFans chick.
I bet she would be a better guest than the OnlyFans chick was.
Well, hopefully, yeah. As long as she doesn't say that she wants her kids to be fucking porn stars, would be a good start.
Anyway, moving on. So Hall told Officer Holloway, who was suspended for suspending explicit images, that she had bad days. Did I read this part already? Holiday told investigators that Hall and other officers at his home watching football was drinking heavily. Whoa. Holiday reported that there was talk of a threesome with him, Hall, and Holiday's ex. The report headed. Holiday reported nothing happened at the party. Might have been a lie. The officer admitted to having a sexual relationship with Hall and meeting her in hotel rooms for sex. Their last encounter was mid-November. Who is this? Oh, this is Holiday. Before Hall was officially hired on the force, she had a meet up with at McGowan's. I've had a couple shots. McGowan's house with her husband and another female. At the time, Holiday was a candidate and had taken her clothes off along with the other female. This reads like a trashy novel, which is kind of awesome, but not. Hall's husband got upset, the report reads. During the visit, McGowan admitted to taking out his penis in the room and taking a photo of it. He sent the photo to Hall. McGowan denied having sex with Hall, but revealed explicit photos and videos he received from her. Another employee revealed that McGowan approached her while on duty and choked her. What the hell? He was terminated amid sexual engagement and workplace violence allegations. That is crazy. So this is McGowan. Which guy is that? Where is he at? There's pictures of everybody.
Yeah,
there's Pal. He's the sledgehammer.
Peter Gabriel song, by the way.
That takes you way back.
All right, can I talk about the sledgehammer real quick while you look for this dude?
Yes.
One of my favorite baseball players, Colorado Rockies, left fielder, maybe right field. No, I think left. Dante Bichette, number 10. That was his fucking walkout song with Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel. It was badass.
There's no picture of the woman choker and abuser here.
Oh. Well, because I know that, somebody was the one that was like choking the HR person or something?
It just says another employee revealed McGowan approached her while on duty and choked her. I wonder how that works. How do you just walk up to someone and choke
just
them?
Like that? Well, jokey action.
Was he using the force?
Because you feel that? No? Okay.
No, I can't feel that.
I'd heard some rumors allegedly.
Allie is on it.
Oh, she's so fucking good. Allie, you're the MVP of the chat so far. I heard some rumors that this kind of shit was happening with Hall in the police academy too.
Doesn't surprise me.
That's problematic, and I don't know. Like, if you're a background investigator, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, she, sleeping with somebody in the academy or whatever. I don't know, but it's just fuck. Like, I know this shit happens in other departments, but I would hope it's not this bad.
No, I have not heard of any. Plus, I stay clear of all the drama, and like I'm the last person to hear about all these stories and stuff like that. Like, I don't know who's sleeping with who. The only reason I know about some of the relationships because I see it on social media. All the secret stuff I don't hear about, so I don't know. People will come to me to like confirm a story, and I'll be like, I don't know, and then I'll start seeing it on like Facebook. I'm like, oh, I guess that was all correct. Oh, can I talk about the rumor mill and how things are and how nasty it is?
Oh, it's fucking awful, dude. High school with guns. Oh,
it is. But so the other day, well, this is maybe a couple months ago, at roll call, the city that I work in has zones, and the zones are numbered. And I'm not going to say what zone I work on because it'd give my city away, but let's call it 14.
69.
69. So we're at roll call, and one of the guys was like, hey, who's the guy on zone 69 that was relieved of duty for jerking off in front of a prostitute? And we all work the zone, and the zone is a very tight-knit group, right? And even if it was a different shift, somebody gets relieved of duty, has their gun and badge taken away for something like that, that spreads very fast. And I was like, what the hell? And so my first thought was, okay, there's not an officer that's doing this, but there's an officer that did something with a prostitute, and it's getting blown way out of proportion. And like, I didn't know where it came from, and I was like trying to think of all this stuff. Cause we have had officers who got fired for sleeping with prostitutes, which blows my mind if you know what any of these women look like and their bathing habits.
That happened in my department too.
It's insane. It's bleh. Like you have to hose out the back of your car after you have one in the back of your car. It's that bad. And I can't imagine an officer being with one of them, but whatever. So I was racking my brain trying to think of how whatever an officer did with a prostitute, because sometimes this is just an allegation coming from someone on the street. I'm trying, you see things that get misconstrued. Like, if I stopped and was dealing with a prostitute and she dropped her purse or something, and the two of us are both picking it up, but the back door of the car is open, so it looks like the two of us are bent over doing something. You know what I mean? And a member of the public sees that, takes a picture, sends that away. That could trigger an investigation where there was actually nothing wrong going on. And that was what I thought was happening. So I was like, well, who is under investigation? Like, whatever. I found out 2 weeks later, the same guy who asked about the incident, he was like, oh yeah, I was talking to my buddy. He said that they completely made that up and they were spreading it around the city. They were legitimately, they made up an allegation against an officer that was allegedly masturbating in front of a prostitute.
You guys saw that?
What'd you do?
Nothing.
Oh. But they made that up just to spread a rumor, just because they thought it was fun. I don't really find a lot of humor in that. It was pretty wild. But it goes into a little bit of this, like, you know, the whole everybody knew what was going on and this, that. There might have been guys like me that are just kind of dopey that kind of trust everybody, or when they hear something, they're just like, oh, that's not happening. I don't know. Although she was sleeping with so many people, it's impossible not to know.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like me and you are kind of the defenders of the female cop usually. You know, because we see the videos of like, oh, you know, like, this girl can't be a cop. And I'm like, I've watched 100 videos of a dude fucking up a call. So I know some people may watch this later and be like, oh, you're just picking on her because she's a girl. It's like, no, she sucked 37 dicks in a row. You know, like, there has to be, like, there's some jokes to be made and something, a cautionary tale to be told kind of thing. And it's for the guys too, like, don't be that guy that takes advantage of a girl having a hard time. Be the fucking person in her corner kind of thing, you know? And that goes the same for anybody, right? Like, if you have a friend, you know, if you have a friend having a hard time, maybe you don't necessarily want to bang him because he's a dude. 2022, maybe you want to fucking bang him. But, like, don't fucking take advantage of somebody's weaknesses.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, as soon as someone gets divorced, you're like on the phone with them. Like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, get them while they're down. No, there's a whole lot of gross that's happening here. And you know, what's kind of funny is how we started off talking about how she was the aggressor. She's the one that's like the cock hungry chick that's chasing these dudes down. I mean, I literally said that, like, you know, but as we kind of talk about it more, we're kind of back onto, man, these guys were dirtbags too.
There's culpability all around.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know whose fault it was. And
it's all their damn faults. How about that?
Yeah, it was. And who's more culpable? I don't know. Does it matter? Probably not. Good Lord. And it's just sad. It's rough. Like, it actually reminds me of a female that I know that had a thing for...
Sorry. If I'm ever mentally weak, I encourage women to fuck me. Help me get back. Free thinker, you've come a long way, buddy.
Yeah, he's always there.
Yeah.
No, but, and like, I don't think she's gonna watch this, but like, I do have a friend that she had a thing for officers, and she started getting around hard, and then she went and got a different job, and she was telling me that she's like, at like 2 weeks into her new job, she's like, oh, I fucked up already. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know, like I've cut ties with her and stopped talking to her for that reason. And I hope she doesn't have this issue as her new job. I'll text you later what her new job is. It's kind of funny, but anyway. So yeah, I think guys do have to look out for girls in these situations and be the bigger man. So
that's what she said. Hey, Mike brought up a good point though. Shouldn't management needs to be looked at? I don't know if that makes sense, but I think I know what he's saying. By the way, I haven't drank in a while, so forgive me. It's starting to hit me, but there's something to that, right? It's a small department, and you have like, I don't know, 10% of your department is totally fucked. Who are you hiring? You know?
Yeah. Well, and it's hard too because there's a discipline structure that's written into the contract, and there's progressive discipline and like past practices on discipline based on arbitration and all that kind of stuff. There might not be a mechanism for issuing discipline, and it also might be so cloudy that they just don't know exactly what to do. I don't know. without having like specific pinpointed examples, I couldn't really say. And at the same time, like the entire department had to know about this. They're all complicit to an extent. I think you got to send a strong message by firing a good number of people, which was what they're doing.
Yeah.
And hopefully that corrects the problem so it doesn't ever happen again. This is an interesting topic that I've been trying to find a way to address. That people think that accountability means punishment, and it also, what's the word I'm looking for? Lackluster used it in in a comment on one of my videos once before, and I was going to go back and use it in a video because I was going to kind of argue with him about it. Where like you get something back from it, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's not just accountability. Like I can't think of the word, but like sometimes it's just not there, you know, like there is no remedy. There's nothing you can do. It's just make sure it doesn't happen again, you know? And I think that there's things that you can do like they're doing, you know? Not saying that everything they're doing is right or that they've got it all figured out. But you know, at the end of the day, you can't fire the entire police department either. You want to put letters of reprimand in the supervisor's folders. That's fine. What good is that going to do? I mean, they've all learned a lesson from this. I promise they've all learned a lesson from this. I don't know. So,
well, Allie brought up she needed counseling, not punishment. Well, she got some punishment. I bet she was into it. But on a serious note, there's no way she could work there again.
Yeah.
And in fairness, I don't want to say she could never be a cop again, but she can never be a cop again. I don't see how she ever gets hired again because it's just people aren't going to want to take that gamble on her. And basically, and we're going to say, I think we agree there's culpability on them. There's culpability on her. But her being hired lost 4 other officers. And in this environment is a big fucking deal. So, yeah, there's no way she could have stayed after all that. I don't think.
No, I agree. Anyway, have we covered the entire article yet?
We might have. I know you wanted to segue into the New York City gal.
Well, I did a little bit. Let me see if I've got it up.
I would love to talk about that because I have some thoughts on that.
Okay, well, the video that I have is only 3 minutes. That's
what she said. That's borderline.
Borderline. I'll give it to you, though.
Yeah.
That's what she said. So, here it is. So, everybody remembers, and I think there's clips of it here. This is a video from TMC. Hopefully, this doesn't get me copyright struck.
Before you hit start on that, Mike, I know what you're saying. I agree they're accountable too. I'm just saying like the totality of it. This is like kind of unfair to say, but if she wasn't hired, they probably would all still have their jobs. That's kind of what I'm saying.
She was like the
right. They do have accountability.
Well,
there's a nexus to her vagina.
Yeah. Plus, we spent a long time talking about how those guys were all dirtbags and that everything that they did was wrong too. So, I think we're being pretty fair about this. Yeah. Is there something up about? Let's see. Ping pong. Yeah. So anyway, I think I had a very different take on this situation than a lot of people did. Let me see if I can find a moment. Oh, this is all just her apology. Have you seen this yet?
When is this from? This apology? Because she's gone on to do more dumb shit.
I've seen some photos of her and stuff like that. But I think that this was very sincere. This was a year ago. So this might have been like a couple of days. Oh, this is a couple of days after the incident.
Okay. Let's play it and then I'll go on my rant.
Yeah, but for the people that don't remember, NYPD, some precinct had a Christmas party. She even describes it here. This young female officer who was a knockout. Do we agree on that? She's beautiful.
Oh yeah, she's hot. Yeah,
she's gorgeous. Did a lap dance for this lieutenant. Lieutenant, she's on his lap and he's got his hands up on her legs, at a minimum on her legs, and he was having a very good time. Somebody recorded this on their cell phone, must have posted it to social media, and it was a national story. I think he got moved to another precinct. There was talk about both of them being fired, whatever. I believe they both kept their jobs. He was talking about filing a lawsuit against her. I don't know if that ever happened. But everybody was, I don't know. There's a lot of memes about this going around. And I thought this was very interesting hearing her perspective a few days after it happened. So we will play this now.
I do want to apologize to the lieutenant's wife. You know, I am sorry. Truly, I am. And I really hope it didn't, cause too much damage in the marriage or in your personal life. I know it's been rough. I've been seeing the articles and I've been seeing pictures of you guys all over the newspapers as well as mine. And it wasn't meant to be like this. I really had no knowledge of your marriage. Again, I'm sorry. And as far as the lieutenant goes, I am sorry. It was supposed to be for fun, shits and giggles. And, I feel like I completely ruined, I guess, his picture as a lieutenant, as a boss. I know it doesn't look good on him at all, but I do apologize. Everyone was having drinks. We were all dancing, nothing out of the ordinary. Me, I'm the life of the party when it comes down to it. I do like to have a good time, but it came down to the end of the party where a colleague, there was a chair, and I can't recall, but there was people saying, you won't do this or this ends. Me, I took on the dares, and I grabbed the lieutenant, sat him down, and I pretty much did the lap dance that is seen worldwide now. I couldn't grow the courage to go back to work, so they did accommodate me in working from home for this week. So I have been working from home. I'm not sure what's to happen after this, but they've been supportive. I have great people at that precinct, very supportive, saying they feel bad and this was blown out of proportion. It just got out of hand and it happened so quickly. As far as going back, I would love to go back. It's hard. Like I said, I feel like there's just judgment and shame that shouldn't be there, even though there's a lot of support. But I feel like now my name's out there, my photo's out there, and it's a small precinct. We cover a mile of area to patrol, and it's I feel like now everywhere I go, people are going to know, oh, that's the girl. She gave the lap dance. How professional is that? But it's at the same time, my work self and then off duty are two different people. I can still patrol and police the streets the way I used to and the way anyone can. I feel like I shouldn't be judged or anything of that sort because of a lap dance that I did when I was off duty, not in uniform. I feel like just because mainly I'm a female, dressed the way I was, being a rookie, things were different. Had it been a man doing it, I feel like it would have been more of a joking matter, and it would have
I didn't listen to that part before I chose to play this video. I'll admit that. She was doing very well up until then.
I would like to say what you have to say about this, and I'm gonna fucking unload. So you do your thing.
I just wanted to kind of compare and contrast how the situations were.
Yeah, let's watch this in slow-mo first, though. And by the way, somebody was saying in there that she's not that hot. Go fuck yourself. Oh, you know what? It was my boy Bronx, buddy. You know you're wrong. She's fucking hot.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I gotta give her that. This whole thing okay, he's got a problem with his wife now that he has to deal with. Because if you look at this face, He's not hating what's going on right now. He wasn't fighting back against it. He wasn't complaining when it was happening. And it was like she took a challenge to try to embarrass the LT. I don't know. Yeah. Hey, I bet you won't go out and do a lap dance on the lieutenant. I'll get me a fucking chair. I will. Look, I don't have her assets, but I've done some really stupid shit in my life. She did a stupid thing, and I don't think that it should affect her career. It was off duty. It was a drunken party.
You know what? No, I'm sorry. I don't want to.
It was a drunken. Well, here's the other thing. This is something it's never happened in my presence, but I know of multiple police officers. For a while on my zone, we weren't allowed to have holiday parties because they were having holiday parties in public places. And okay, I'm sorry, I just lost my concentration there. I bet you there's no curtains. I'm just saying, I don't think that there are curtains. Okay. That's it.
There could be a landing strip.
I doubt it. She's probably like 23, 24 years old. Anyway, God, that means she was born in like 99. I'm old as fuck.
Okay, but
yeah. So, yeah, we were not allowed to have holiday parties in public places anymore because multiple precincts had holiday parties at like bars, and then somebody at the bar would find out there was a bunch of cops there, and they'd go start talking shit, and next thing you know, the guy that was talking shit got his jaw broken and was put in the hospital. I think that is way worse than what she did. And those guys all got their jobs. They all got relieved of duty for a short period of time. There was an investigation. They dealt with any criminal repercussions, and then they were put back on the street. She didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah, besides a fucking marriage. Okay.
Well, he was part of that too.
And he's just as fucking culpable as her.
But also, his dick stayed in his pants.
That is a bonus. I'd pay to watch that too. But, all right, here's my thing on this thing. And I would actually say when this happened, I did a poll on my page, and it was like 50-50. Some people were like, no, who fucking gives a shit? And, people were more on my side. It was 50-50. So I know this is kind of a, I don't want to say touchy, but people have different feelings about it, right? It was off duty. I get that. The issue is it's a fucking police party. And my biggest issue, my biggest problem with this is that it was her boss. In fact, that's my only issue with it, is that it was her fucking boss or a lieutenant or a supervisor. If it was another cop, fucking fair game. I have a big problem with a fucking line officer giving a supervisor a lap dance. I think that's fucking shitty. Okay? Now, you're right. People make drunken mistakes. And oh God, you're fucking distracting me with that. Look at that fucking thing move. But they both should have.
There's multiple angles. I have not seen all of this.
You haven't seen all of this?
No.
I watch this in slow-mo nightly.
Oh God.
But does it cost
I'm gonna get in trouble
job?
for this.
Oh my God, this is awesome. I don't know. My problem is her being the fucking.
Look,
being the fucking
she's decent.
lieutenant.
She pulled her skirt back down. She's a decent.
By the way,
human
I've
being.
asked her to be on the podcast, and she told me no. But
Really?
because she was afraid of getting in trouble. But she was not afraid of going down to a New Jersey police barracks and trying to get her friend out of trouble while she was drunk. So she's made mistakes past this point. And look,
I'm looking.
it was a big fuck up, but I have a big problem with it. And if she would have lost her job over something like this, I wouldn't have had a whole lot of heartache. And if he lost his job too, like, he should fucking know better as lieutenant. Now, I've heard some people say, why the fuck are people recording this? If it's not recorded, it didn't fucking happen. See, all fucking rats recording this shit. Don't bring out your phone. Okay? What happens in the fucking Christmas party stays at the Christmas party, okay? Just saying.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what I just said because I was too busy watching her.
I lost my concentration. I had not seen all of that.
Am I off base?
It's way
with
better
that,
with
though?
the sound off.
Is it? Am I off fucking base though? Like,
yeah, you are.
Fuck, it's her fucking boss, dude.
I don't care.
You don't fucking do that shit with your
Lighten
boss.
up.
Dude.
Lighten up, Francis.
Fuck you.
Lighten up, Francis. My boss is an old man. He's probably like 3 years older than me.
Would you not have a problem with some
He has
fucking
a dip in at all
him a lap
times,
dance?
and I would fucking grind on his knee any day of the week.
You fucking never mind. But I'm just saying she fucked his marriage to an extent. I mean, I don't know if they're still together or not.
It was an embarrassment that if his wife can't get over it, it is what it is.
Are you shitting me right now?
No, I'm not.
So if there was a video going around with old Officer Ben at a Christmas party getting grinded on by the hottest chick on the police department, Mrs. Officer Ben wouldn't have an issue with that?
I wouldn't have allowed it to happen. And
then shut
I'm
the fuck up
serious.
because I'm right.
No, but he allowed it to happen. So like they're two consenting adults. They're off duty. Like, prove that it affected their working relationship, and then I'll give you a point. But without that, I don't know. Like, and here's the thing too.
I'm right, Nixie. I'm right. Don't give your fucking supervisor a lap dance. I don't know how that's controversial.
Okay. Just stop for a minute. Let's
No.
forget about the lap dance.
Okay.
Okay. No, and I'm going to make a real point here.
Okay.
You make jokes about the creepy lieutenant all the time, right? The creepy lieutenant that's hitting on the young new officers, blah, blah, blah. He was going to be, if he was the creepy lieutenant, he's going to be flirting with her, trying to get a piece of that, trying to catch a glimpse at all times already. I don't think that what she did was going to change that. Right? Yeah, I see that. But also, like, my wife and I are a certain way where I would have been so embarrassed. Like, let's say I'm the lieutenant. This is me personally. This is Officer Ben as the lieutenant. At the Christmas party, everyone's like, "Hey, LT, come here. We got a surprise for you. You need to come sit in this chair." These are all the guys on my zone, because that's on where I work. We have zone lieutenants. So I've got 5 precincts, and I've got, I don't know, 30 officers. They're like, "LT, we got something for you. You got to sit in this chair." And they're all drinking, have a good time, laughing their asses off. I don't know what's coming, right? It could be a drinking game. It could be a legitimate Christmas gift. It could be a gag Christmas gift. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're going to try to paint my head because I'm bald, and I think he was kind of bald too. I sit down, and then she points that ass at me and starts doing what she does. I'm turning red now. I'm going to turn beet red. I'm going to get up, or, I mean, at least I would pull my hands away. I wouldn't be grabbing onto her like he's grabbing onto her. I would not be in the same position he was in. My wife also would not,
Then
his
why
wife,
are you defending it?
I'm not, but no, here's the point that I'm doing. He is a certain way. He's married to his wife. He was the same. He was a certain way with his wife too. If she didn't know that he had this in him, that's their problem. But there's also a good chance that she knew that he was kind of a crazy party guy, and either she had a very serious problem with it, but realistically, the serious problem she probably had was that this became a national story, and all of her friends know that this is her husband, more so than it was that he got a lap dance from some girl. Because if it wasn't like a precinct girl, if it was like a stripper or something, my wife would laugh at me.
Well, and I come from like the professional angle too. If this is her, like one of her supervisors, if you're a guy, and we know how it is, like it's kind of the same thing with, I know it's not the same as sleeping, but the next day if she gets a better zone assignment or she gets whatever, people are gonna be like, it's because of the fucking lap dance.
Well, then you grieve it.
Okay, but that's what we're doing. We're grieving it right now.
No, you grieve it through the union.
This is I don't know, man. Like, should they be fired about it? I don't know. I wouldn't have lost sleep if they got fired about it. But it's fucking
fired.
Stupid.
Why does everybody need to be fired for everything that they do wrong? Like, is it right? No, it's not right. Is it
because they're cops and they should make good decisions?
Well, guess what? There's a lot of cops that make poor decisions or make mistakes, and they don't need to get fired for them.
I'm saying,
have you ever
I don't
made a
know
mistake?
If they should have been fired. I wouldn't have lost sleep. Like, I wouldn't have been marching in the streets if they got fired.
Well, I don't march in the street for anything.
Not me.
I don't march in the street. Period.
You would for her, apparently.
Well, tell you what, I will go upstairs right now and tell my wife that I would march in the street for this girl, and she would laugh at me.
Connor, and that's what she said, by the way. In Bronx, I'm going to take your word for it. You're one of my trusted dudes. Mm-hmm. So if you're saying that she's not that hot, I'm watching this. She's hot. I don't know. Like,
don't make me start playing again.
I don't know. Cop hot's a thing, though. I think
cop hot is a thing.
Yeah. We should be playing the Benny Hill theme over this.
No, I'll get copyright strike. Look, he's like, honey, I wasn't a participant. I didn't want her to do it. I swear. That smile.
Free thinker. That's a good point. I would say, like, is it cheating? No, but you're gonna have some fucking problems. I would say. I mean, it's like, if you're a baseball guy, it's maybe not AAA cheating, but it's like it's AA cheating. Like you're on your way to the majors kind of thing. I wouldn't say it's cheating. By the way, William, I'm not wrong.
He's retired.
All of us, I don't know. Here's the thing is, like, it's 50-50 in the chat. So obviously everybody has different opinions on it. Like I said, the only issue I actually really have is that it's a supervisor. If it was another cop at the party, yeah, it's not the most professional thing, but it's fucking, they're having a party, whatever. Look, I was fucking totally drunk on New Year's Eve, sending fucking drunk texts to people. I was looking at my phone. I'm like, holy shit, I don't remember this. I like to party too, okay? I fucking love the party. I love to have a good time, but you're still responsible for your actions.
I think that people lose perspective sometimes. And like, again, this goes back to like military for me, because military is 24/7, right? Like, there is no off duty in the military. In the military, you're always on duty. Fucking, it matters all the fucking time. When we had a party, and we had a fucking good time. And my company commander, my company first sergeant, lieutenants, everybody, we had a good time. When the party was over, the party was over. We were able to separate that, and we were 20 to 25-year-old kids. I think that as an adult, you can put that aside. I do. Is it professional? No. Is it moral? No. Is it being blown out of proportion? Absolutely, it is. That's all I'm going to say about that. So
let's get to Allie's thing in a second here, but I did want to say, the military, you're on all the time. I was told as a cop, you have to be kind of on all the time as far as your outside life to an extent, because you are held to the higher standard kind of thing. And I always kind of thought that was kind of bullshit, because I look, man, just fucking give some people some room to breathe. But I think at the same time, you just have to be careful about that shit, Well,
you are, but, you can still do these things and still maintain a professional life. And I think it's also, now, is this necessary? No. But to let loose around your chain of command, absolutely, it's necessary. Did this go a little too far?
This is a different definition of loose.
No. Well, I don't know. I can't tell from here. I need closer inspection. But you need to loosen up a little bit. Did they go too far? Yeah. Is it a talking to? Yeah. You know, is that where it should end? Probably. Should they work together? No. But it's just not the end of the world. Like, everyone needs to, what's my normal say? Take a little drink of, chill the fuck out. That's what everybody needs to do with this stuff. It's just not that serious. Everybody in the world needs to lighten the fuck up. That's it. You know, like, God, you can't be wound up so tight all the time. You got to be human. You got to have a little bit of fun. Geez, we're not allowed to have fun in our society anymore. For God's sake. And like,
all I'm saying is don't give the lieutenant a lap dance. That's all I'm saying here. Well, and I feel like you're thinking that's like totally out of control.
No, but you said that you wouldn't mind if they got fired for it, and that's ridiculous.
No. I said I wouldn't be marching in the street.
You said it many ways before that. So,
hey, how would you feel if your wife was giving her boss a lap dance?
I already discussed this. She just wouldn't, because I didn't marry a woman that acts like this. Like, let's say if she's single now and she met some guy, she said in her apology video that she's always she's always the life of the party. She dresses like this. My wife doesn't dress like this. She doesn't dance like that. She can't even. She can't.
Hi, Miss Ben, by the way.
What's that?
I said hi, Miss Ben, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think she's listening, but I'll tell her about it. But like, she doesn't dance like this. She doesn't move like this. She doesn't have it in her. Like, if you marry this girl, like, this isn't my wife. This isn't the girl that I married. If you marry that girl and then you get all bent out of shape that she's doing that, you had to have known that she had it in her. You've probably seen something similar to this in the past, right?
Hold on.
Well, no, I want to stop. I want to continue for a moment, because one of my roommates in college, this was after I got home from Iraq, and it was a guy that we were friends before I left, and then we actually got an apartment together while I was overseas, and I paid rent for 2 years in an apartment that I did not live in, so that he could have actually a very comfortable apartment. And then when I moved back in, we were roommates, right? And one night we had an argument. It was really uncharacteristic. And a few days later, he comes to me. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry that I was acting that way, but I found out that Kim was cheating on me." I literally laughed in his face. This is the woman he's currently married to and has 2 children with. The reason I laughed is because Kim was married at the time to somebody other than him. So she was married to some guy over here, and she's getting a divorce and fucking my roommate. And then she went to a concert. My roommate is a musician, and she was fucking him because he's a musician and she's into musicians.
That's why I started playing music, by the way. It didn't work
good for
out
you.
For me.
It worked out. You got a girl that we know about some of her skills. So she's married. She finds him, is fucking him. Then she goes to a concert, works away backstage, and is fucking the band. And then he's all mad that she's doing this. And he comes to me and he's like, "I'm sorry. I found out that she was cheating on me." And I literally laughed in his face. I couldn't, it wasn't that I was trying to be mean. It's just that I didn't care. I was like, "Well, what?" And I think I literally said, "Well, there's a surprise." So if I married her and she was dancing on someone's lap, I would know that this is the type of thing that she does, right? My current wife doesn't do this kind of thing. So if she did, that would be very uncharacteristic of her, and that would be a little weird, right? But it's not going to happen. It's not a possibility.
Okay.
So it's
okay. Hold on a second, though. I don't want to go on a rant about this forever because there's probably other things to address, and we're getting a little long in the tooth here. But you would expect, like, let's say she was single, right? He was married, but let's just talk about her. You marry this chick down the line. You would expect, she did stuff like this, I would hope you wouldn't marry someone being like, well, not believing that they would not do stuff like this, not to you. Like, that's a weird way to look at things, at least for me. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say here? Like, I know, like, I have friends that are now married, and I know they used to do some fucking wild shit, but now they're married, and they should, in theory, unless you're Megan Hall, be faithful to their husband. Is that too much to expect? Like, can you not party and be able to turn it off when you're fucking married?
How about it would be something that they would need to talk about, but it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. It shouldn't be the end of the marriage. And also, you shouldn't have gotten with her if that thing happening was going to be the thing that's going to break up your marriage. Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree, but Nixie,
it's fine.
Thank you very much. Donut disappeared off Instagram. He was booted off Instagram for some bullshit. So pour one out for the homies there.
And I'm looking to see if he's done anything on the lap dance right now. That's what I'm Googling. Yeah, he doesn't have anything about the NYPD lap dance. That would have been interesting to hear his take.
Yeah.
But he probably doesn't care. All right. I shouldn't talk about Donut.
I miss Donut. Because I'm not, for doing this, I'm not much of a YouTuber. Hey, Scott, I'm also a pro ukulele player. Look for my OnlyFans.
Never got laid. I played the trombone.
The rusty trombone.
Michelle, you've seen my workout videos, right? Like, you know that I only have short shorts. At least those are the ones I wear at the gym. My shorts I'm wearing now are reasonably length.
Be a man. Wear short shorts.
Oh, I wear the fuck out of short shorts. Lenny's seen my legs. I threatened him today with my legs.
He gets mad when we make fun of him in the group chat, so he just sends leg pictures to make us stop, but it just makes us more horny.
I'm proud of my legs, man. No, I was going to, Donut would be a good example. Let me pull up Instagram. I'm going to pull up Instagram, and do you know who I'm going to pull up?
I don't know. Who are you going to pull up?
His girlfriend.
Oh, she's hot. Respectfully.
Yes.
She is hot.
I mean, this is how she makes her money.
Or as Bronx would say, only cop hot.
Only cop hot. Cop hot is a real thing.
It's true.
Let me find the right Heather Lynn video or picture. Okay, so there's Donut's girlfriend. If she became a police officer and was dancing on her lieutenant's lap after this is her persona online, how do you think Donut would respond to that? Do you think he would say, "I can't believe you would do such a thing"? Or do you think he would sit back and be like, "Well, that's my Heather"?
Hold on a second. Showing your ass is a lot different than fucking grinding on somebody. That's single A, and then that's double A. We talked about this. Somebody wanted football terms. I don't know. I don't play the football.
I can't make it bigger.
That's what she said.
Yeah, she has a YouTube channel too. I should have pulled up her YouTube, but it's a decent example. Like if you marry the Heather Lynn, you can't get upset that she goes and lap dances on some guy.
Fuck yeah,
like
you can.
No.
If you're married to somebody, you expect them not to do that.
Nope, you married into it. You knew what you were getting into.
Oh, you're fucking out of control for that. I disagree.
I wouldn't do it. I'm gonna put this image back up because it's way better.
Than our faces. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, where is it? That's what she said. It's on my screen, but it's right there. All right. Way better than what we had to look at.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Can I tell you guys a funny joke I heard today that's relevant?
Funny joke. Ooh.
Okay. Let me try and read straight, but there's an old adage. The Irish woman once said, "You, of course, know the difference between a bitch and a whore, right?" The answer, a whore will sleep with every lad in the bar. A bitch will sleep with every lad in the bar except for you.
Was that a comment on one of your memes?
No, somebody sent that to me, and I'm like, that's fucking funny. Because there was a video. I don't know if I think I shared it with you guys. That was fucking cracking me up about like being the only guy on La Vagina Police Department that wasn't getting some.
Oh yeah, Sam made that comment earlier.
Yeah.
I want to go to your page because I want to tell this story before I forget.
Yeah.
You posted a meme today. Oh no, it was about
memes.
The podcast. This one.
Okay.
So
go listen to this podcast, by the way. It's very good.
It's good. I just started it. Can we preview it a little bit? Won't tell what state the guy's from, but I'm only probably 25 minutes in. But he's a Southern guy, has a drawl, comes from a community that has a lot of drugs, and there's a lot of accusations of inter-family sexual relationships. If you get what I'm saying. He's a police officer, a volunteer firefighter. Had a very interesting childhood. His mother was a drug addict, got herself clean, and then relapsed. Had a child while he was in his teens. So since she relapsed on hard drugs like heroin and meth, and he was like 16, had to take care of his younger sister. And then later he kept himself clean and became a police officer. Fascinating story.
Yeah, it's great. And then he talks about to go on to it, just a little preview if you guys are into podcasts. Poorly Made Police Podcasts, everywhere. Most places you can find podcasts except for YouTube because I'm lazy. But he gets in a pretty crazy OIS that's fucking nuts, and he was pretty new when it happened. So it's a pretty interesting story to say the least.
Yeah, just from the get-go, he sounds like a really good dude.
Yeah, good kid, man, for sure.
Yeah, I love hearing stories like that because there's so many people that are like, oh, well, my parents were a drug addict, so I became a drug addict. And his dad wasn't really in the picture either. It sounds like he just has a really good head on his shoulders, and he used the bad experiences he had growing up as motivation to be a better person. So I like that stuff, and that resonates with me, and it makes me feel pathetic for what I went through. But I didn't go through what he went through, but I did have a father and an uncle that dealt with some real drug abuse issues when I was a child. And thankfully I had an older cousin who's like 4 years older than me. And he was very loud spoken about the issues that they had and the reason that they had those issues, the reason that they were who they were. And I just followed his lead. I was like, so when I was in high school, my friends were drinking alcohol. I didn't drink alcohol. My friends were smoking weed. I never even tried to smoke weed. I was very adamant that I was never going to do any of those things because I did not want to go down the path that my father and my uncle went down. I get the feeling that this guy has the same way about him, but what he went through was like way more hardcore than anything that I went through. So I enjoyed hearing his story.
Yeah, it's good. But you have a story about this meme, correct?
I do, and that's what I was going to get to. Because I could save it for another live stream, but I'll forget. So it's better to do it now. So the story, when you get a write-up for saving someone's life, you wrote this poorly. When you get a write-up,
I know. I noticed it as I uploaded it, and I was like, I don't fucking care. It's poorly made. Who gives a shit?
You know what's funny is, I don't have the following that you have. But and like my memes aren't as good as yours, and I kind of just post them just to keep the feed going, and I post whatever's on my fucking mind, so they're not fire like yours are. But I have had some like major typos, and nobody calls me out on it, which is hilarious. They're just like, oh yeah, the only one that calls me out is my wife, and she'll like want me to take it down. I'm like, no, I'm not going to take it down. It already has like 140 likes. Like, this is one of my best memes. Anyway,
It's
so,
a meme, man. There should be some leeway with that.
Yeah, I post like 3 or 4 a day, so it doesn't matter. So anyway, I was fairly new. I probably had 2 years on the department at the time, and it was, we're all at roll call. We're getting our vehicle assignments, and I was on the wagon one day with my buddy DJ, and I remember we were still sitting at the table. We had our walkies on because the sergeant had already marked us in, and the neighboring precinct, or the precinct next to me, had a shooting. So they were all like, literally everybody was tied up on the shooting. It was only like 5 minutes after 11. We worked 11 to 7. But realistically, we didn't take our first run until about 11:30. You get in at 11, roll calls at 11. Sarge goes over a bunch of crap. You don't leave the roll call table until 11:15, 11:20. 11:30 is when you're fully loaded up in your vehicle and the dispatcher knows that they can start sending you on runs. But yeah, whatever. So we're all still sitting around the table. Since Sarge had marked us in, we had our walkies on just in case they send us on a call. And the precinct next to me was all busy on a shooting. And it turned out it was a bullshit shooting, but at the beginning it sounded like chaos, right? Because it's at an apartment complex. It was at 10 p.m. in the summertime, like July or August. So everybody's outside because nobody has air conditioning. There was 50 people outside. They needed additional officers for crowd control. It was madness. While they're all there and they're calling every medic in the city down to their location, a burglar in progress call goes out on my precinct. My buddy and I were in the wagon. So we actually grabbed our tasers, ran out, got in the wagon, kicked on the lights and sirens, and drove directly to the address. We didn't stop at our vehicles to get any of our paperwork, our equipment. I didn't have any of my first aid gear. I had nothing. I literally had the pen in my pocket, my gun and taser, and that was it. So we headed to this call. It was at it's like a single story 4-unit apartment building that the edge of the building faced the road. So you had to walk up the sidewalk. There was like 4 units. You walk up the sidewalk and you're there. We get burglary in progress calls at 11 o'clock, between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. very frequently. Often it's just a drunk beating on someone's door trying to get in, and it's literally nothing. We go lights and sirens running up there. We walk up this sidewalk. We get to the apartment, and there's each apartment, it's like window, door, window, door, window, door. And there's like a big window. It's probably 3 feet wide, 4 feet tall. We get to the window and it's smashed open. Not only is it smashed open, but there's blood pouring down this window. Like more blood than I've ever seen.
Slayer song, Raining Blood?
Yes. It was dripping with blood. It looked like a horror movie. The window was smashed and there's blood everywhere. I've never seen blood on a window like this before. Usually somebody...
I want to really listen to Slayer really bad now, but go on.
You can do it in a little bit. That's what she said.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, shit. So we go to the door. We can't get in the door. We look at the window, and my buddy and I were like, dude, I'm not climbing down that window. That's nasty. So we get the dispatcher. We're like, hey, can you do a callback? Have them come unlock the door so that we can get into the apartment. Because it was 2 women that were in the apartment and they were hiding in a back bedroom while this burglary in progress was going. And, the call was that there was a fight going on outside and then somebody smashed their window. They were terrified, so they locked themselves in the bathroom. They didn't see what was going on. So we're standing outside. We can hear a phone ring inside. And so we know the dispatcher made contact with the callers. We hear them start to walk through the apartment, and then we just hear these blood-curdling screams. These 2 women were inside. They open the door. We go charging in with our guns out. We're like, where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at? We look directly to the left of the door. There's a dude sitting there. See if I can do this, if it's on camera. He's sitting in a chair like this with his arms just hanging down. Both of his wrists were cut. Like, absolutely freaking severed. both wrists severed. He's laying there. There is water. There is blood pouring out of him like a freaking faucet. He'd probably
Raining blood.
It wasn't raining. It was pouring blood. He'd probably been sitting there for 6 or 7 minutes with his wrist completely slit, both wrists. His arms were hanging down. There was a pool of blood, probably 15 feet in diameter, on a linoleum floor. It was very thick, gelatinous blood. I'm not trying to gross people out, but people cut themselves and they think, oh my God, I'm bleeding bad. No, you're not bleeding bad. You don't know what blood is. The stuff that we see is like real bleeding. If you've ever been hunting or anything before and you've had to bleed out an animal, you have a kind of an idea of what's going on.
Do you bleed?
Yeah, but the blood hits the ground and it will spread out to a certain point, and then the surface tension will hold, and then the blood will actually start to get deep. There was so much blood and it was so deep in this apartment that you could smell it. It's this irony, metally kind of smell that you get in your nose.
There's a joke I could make there, but I'm going to leave that fucking one alone. Go ahead, though.
Right. So, yeah, like Jell-O. Pink is on it tonight. It's very much like Jell-O. So the guy's laying there. He's obviously dead. You know, blood still pouring out of his body. He was white as a ghost. He was like a Cambodian guy, so his skin is a little bit darker. But he was white. I mean, he was dead. He was fucking dead sitting there. So the guy that I was working with had a little bit less time on than me. So I told him, I'm like, hey, you hang out with the dead guy. I'm going to go back. I'm going to take these two women to the back room. I'm going to talk to them about what happened. We believed that this was a burglary, that the burglar smashed through the window and killed himself while he was climbing in. So I was going to go to the back bedroom, talk to these two women, figure out what's going on. Turns out the guy sitting in the chair was actually their friend. He went on a beer run and he got jumped when he got back. He was getting beat up, so he couldn't. He was banging on the door, but the women were like, you know, we're not going to let him open the door because there's two other guys out there with him. We didn't want them coming to our place, so we left the door locked. He was highly intoxicated. He smashed the window, cut his wrist, and then climbed in and sat in the chair and passed out. As I'm talking to them, trying to get the story, my buddy in the other room, where like I can see him down the hallway, he's like, hey Ben, this guy's not dead. I'm like, what? So I go running out there, and I guess the guy was laying there like this, and he sat up, looked around, saw my buddy, and then just goes and laid back down again. So we're like, fuck. So, okay, the guy's still bleeding like crazy. He's not dead. He's lost so much blood. I can't believe he's still alive, but he's still alive. So I run out to the wagon and I get a couple of hobble straps. Hobble straps is what we use when people are combative. We tie their ankles and then you can wrap it around the handcuffs and you basically hog tie these people. I didn't have any medical equipment and we weren't issued tourniquets back then. This is probably in 2013.
Yeah, tourniquets didn't really come about at least like 15, 16, I think, when we first started getting really trained on them.
Yeah, maybe even a little sooner than that. But regardless, you know, I had to use makeshift tourniquets. I had to go get anything that I could. My buddy was talking about taking his bootlaces off, and I was like, no, that's not a good way to make a tourniquet. So I went out and I grabbed these two hobble straps, which I don't have anything in here, but it's like a nylon strap that's about this wide, and it's like a dog leash, for lack of a better term. So I grabbed these two hobble straps and I go running into the house. I'm like, okay, how am I going to put these on him? I run into the women's kitchen and I grab two wooden spoons. You know, I was in the military. I have very good first aid training. I know how to make a tourniquet out of just about anything. All you need is some kind of strap or something and a stick. So I went and got two wooden spoons and I tourniqueted both of his arms, put it like right in the middle of his forearm with a hobble strap and a wooden spoon. It's like he was bleeding so good. It was like a faucet. So I cranked these things down till the bleeding stops, and then you wrap the thing back around. And it was a beautiful makeshift tourniquet on both arms. We were calling for a medic for freaking ever, but there was a shooting that happened on the precinct next to us, and the rounds had skipped off the ground and fragmented and hit multiple people. So they had like 6 or 7 people claiming to be shot. As it turned out, they didn't. They had people that got hit by bullets that actually didn't cause injury, but they didn't know at the time. So they had called every medic in the freaking city was converging on their location. I'm on a back channel trying to get the dispatcher to send me a freaking medic. I work in a major metropolitan city. The medic that ended up responding came from the next town over. That's how many medics they used for the other scene. It's nuts. It's a 15-minute drive with no traffic to this other town where this medic came from. So they finally got there, and they load this guy up and take him away. We had to hold the scene for, I ended up calling a robbery detective. I'm like, hey, this guy went on a beer run. When he got back from the beer run, I think he got robbed outside. He's not talking, and all we have is these women saying that he got jumped. That's our best guess. So we set up crime scene tape, waiting on detectives to show up. The sergeants were all down in the other shooting scene. Finally, they worked their way up to us, and this fucking sergeant, this motherfucker, he's retired now. And I was a young officer at the time, but I had a lot of expectations on me because I was former military. And when I went through coaching, I made a good impression on people. So everybody expected me to be like an all-star when I was a new officer. And that wasn't my intention. I did not ever want to be an all-star. I just want to be a regular cop. But he walks up to me, and he's standing, he's a little bit taller than me. And I was standing on a step. So I remember I was standing kind of toe to toe with him, looking him in the eye. And he's standing there looking at me. He goes, what was the call? I'm like, well, it was a burglary in progress, but it wasn't a burglary because this guy actually has permission to be there, blah, blah, blah. So the sergeant walks into the apartment, and he goes, did you clear the apartment? And I was like, yeah, we cleared it. And then he looks up, and there's a crawl space in the hallway that was closed, but it's like a crawl space. He goes, did you guys check the crawl space? I go, no, I didn't check the crawl space. There was no reason to check the crawl space because there's no inclination whatsoever that anybody went anywhere near the fucking crawl space. So he gets on the air, starts calling for a K9 because they have a pole with a mirror. He literally asked for SWAT to come out and clear this crawl space, and just made a big deal out of this crawl space not being cleared because it was a burglary in progress call, even though there was no evidence that anybody that shouldn't have been in the apartment made it into the apartment. Once that was cleared, he actually made me come outside. He's like, hey, come here, and took me outside of the scene and sat there and dressed me down for about 10 minutes, telling me how disappointed he was that I didn't properly clear the scene. When I showed up with just 2 officers on a major scene while the entire city was fucking going bonkers. I literally saved a guy's life with 2 makeshift tourniquets, and I got my ass chewed out for not clearing a crawl space that there was absolutely no indication that any human being was anywhere near. So that's what your meme reminded me of today.
This isn't nearly as good, but I had a sergeant that was kind of similar, and he would just pick you apart for the dumbest shit. The dumbest shit. I don't know about your department, but the way we put in evidence is fucking ridiculous. And it always was. And yeah, you did it in FTO or coaching, as y'all would say. But when I was new, I'd fuck up evidence because there was just weird shit. And I tried my best with it. But every once in a while I get a correction. Well, the department would send the correction back to the sergeant too. Like, you fucked up evidence, you got to go fix it. And the sergeant would see it too. I don't know why they had to tell the sergeant. They could have just told the cop, hey, you fucked up a check mark or whatever. And I got a couple back in a couple weeks, and he's like threatening to take me off the road and send me to property to learn how to do it. And it's like not a big deal. I'm like, I'm a brand new cop, and because I fucked up a couple check boxes, you're like threatening me to like take me off the road because I'm like, fuck off, dude.
You know what that was?
Ridiculous shit, you know?
That was just a supervisor harassing a new guy trying to scare him.
Maybe.
Probably.
That guy fucking sucks, and if he's watching, which he's not, you fucking suck.
Yeah. Go eat a bag of dicks. Go eat more dicks than Megan Hall.
That's not possible. But
it's probably not. Nikki, thank you. I'm glad that you made it back.
Thank you, Nikki.
Hope you had a good day at work. You know what? I don't want to drag this on for too much longer because I promised my wife that I try to keep these to 2 hours and come upstairs in a reasonable hour.
What are you guys going to do when you get upstairs?
Nothing. We're going to sit on the couch and veg. I'm going to tell her about how the live stream went. I'm going to tell her about how I'm going to ask her if she would be upset if a hot 23-year-old girl danced on me at the Christmas party.
Oh, but she wouldn't do that.
I'm going to ask her. I'm going to play the video for her, and I'm going to ask her what she thought, what she would think if that was me. And I will report back to you. I swear to God.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is there's a supervisor, and I know he doesn't watch, but he's had a reputation for years. He was a sergeant when I came on, and he was the biggest paperwork Nazi on the planet. Like, he would call you and be like, hey, you need to change that period to a comma, and then like blah, 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 he was like very, very specific with his changes. And people would argue with him like, Sarge, different people have different writing styles. Is my PC in there? Is it a good arrest or not? Like, that's all I need to know about. But he wanted everything perfect the way he wanted it to be done. And you would send it back to him. He would send it back again. It would take like 5 corrections. And you got a dude in the back of your car that you're trying to get down to the jail. My current sergeant, who grew up with him on the street as a police officer, he said that he used to fuck with him all the time because he knew that was his reputation. And when they both got promoted, they both went and worked on the same zone. So my current sergeant was like a relief sergeant on that zone. And when that sergeant had his days off, he would review all those guys' paperwork. And it actually got to the point where they would actually hold their paper until their sergeant was on his days off, and they would do all their paperwork when the relief sergeant was on so that they didn't have to do corrections all the time. And my sergeant, knew how much of a Nazi this guy was with paperwork. So he, like, the way it works where I am, if you have a use of force, the sergeant has to write a letter. It's like, hey, Officer Ben responded to this location. He was confronted by a man who balled up his fist and took a fighting stance. Officer Ben delivered a single overhand right to the man's face, exploding it. I find this within policy, blah, 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 sends these letters up the chain of command. Generally, especially when you're a newer supervisor, when you write these letters, you bounce them off the other supervisors to make sure that it looks good. He used to take this other guy, I'll call him Superman. He would take an old letter that Superman wrote about a use of force, and he would send it to him in an email. And he was like, hey, Ben had a use of force, because he would change some of the names and stuff on it and the dates. He's like, hey, Ben had a use of force the other day. I wrote the letter. Can you just proofread it for me before I send up the chain? And he would send one of Superman's old letters back to him. You know what I mean? It was one that he wrote himself, and he would send it back, and Superman would mark it up and send it to him and be like, hey, just make these changes and I think you're good to go. And then my current sergeant would write him back and be like, hey, by the way, that's a letter that you actually wrote and sent up the chain of command like a month ago. And he wouldn't remember. It's fucking hilarious. So it's just like, it just goes to show that he was going to correct you no matter what you wrote. It didn't mean that you did anything wrong. It just meant that he felt like that was his purpose in life. Like, I have to do this.
Bye, Jeannie.
Yeah, and Jeannie is on London time. So
Top
I don't
of the
know what
morning,
time it
mate.
is. I don't think that's London.
Oh, shrimp on the barbie.
Yeah.
Is that not
We
London?
Yes, I'm glad somebody caught on to that. I know there's a lot of people here, but I don't know if some of the, I'm a little bit tipsy and I shouldn't have poured that last bourbon. But yeah, I don't know. And I can see Lenny's eyes rolling back of his head, so it makes me think that my story's not interesting. But I thought it was an interesting story.
I'm drunk. Okay, leave me alone.
Good for
I
you.
began this live stream by acknowledging that I'm alcoholic, so fuck off.
Hey, admitting that you have a problem is actually the first step.
Mm-hmm.
One of the benefits of being in the basement.
Yeah.
So, I really like the lighting. I think it looks really good. I don't know. There was something else I was going to say, but I can't quite remember.
Yeah, you like my mustache? It looks better
do.
when I'm bald. I look more like you when I'm bald. You like that?
That's pretty funny. I should move my camera back and see if I can pull off if I wear a hoodie. But I get warm down here. I get hot.
I'm in a fucking cold Iowa basement, so I could wear a hoodie very often down here.
My basement is way colder in the summer than it is in the winter. If that makes any sense at all. Because the AC, the vents, they don't have, I can't close them. So it is what it is. Oh, I saw a question I wanted to answer. Where is it at? Someone asked a Wolf Bro question. Any update on Wolf Bro? Since you asked, I will answer. Wolf Bro recently pled guilty to, I want to say, a violation of protection order. Was given like a couple of years of probation. Still has a felony case that's open, as well as intimidation of a witness and aggravated menacing case that was open. As a stipulation of his probation that he took with his plea deal, he had to wear a GPS monitor. He wore that monitor for about 2 days before he decided to cut it off. Cutting off the monitor meant that he had a warrant. He was out on the run with his warrant for 12 or 14 days and then was arrested just a couple of days ago. So he's now in Franklin County Jail awaiting his next court date, which I did look up, and it was it's February the 8th. So, but I believe that will probably be put on hold once again because he was ordered to undergo psychiatric evaluation to determine whether or not he is competent to stand trial. So we'll put that on hold. I believe he's going to fail his psych eval. No, but somebody did thank Megan Hall for her cervix. And I told you last week that, did I say it here or did I say it on your podcast? I think it was here. My stance has changed on the whole thank you for your service thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's more so in public. I know that people say it here as a joke, and it is funny. Out in public, it used to be weird, but now that the society has taken such a hard stance against police officers, I think that when you walk up to a cop and you say, hey, thank you for your service, thank you for everything that you do, that's actually a really good signal. And I think it takes a little bit of bravery as well. And how sad is it? What an indictment on our society that it takes bravery for a person to admit that they support the police. That's really sad. So anyway,
I want to address this guy real quick though, because he always threatens to bully me and he never does.
No,
I'm right here, bro. I'm right here.
If you create a Discord and join my Discord, I don't think he ever sleeps. And I think he poops 20 hours a day because he's very active on Discord. I have a Discord
20 hours a day.
And I'm aware of what's going on in the Discord most of the time. I just don't comment on it very often because between the two YouTube channels and Facebook and Instagram and everything, I don't have a ton of time to interact with people. I just kind of monitor everything. So I do see that you guys are there and I keep up on you. And like Spencer, I know you had an outpatient procedure the other day and I'm glad that you made it home. Like I follow up on you guys. I know what you're doing. I just don't get a lot of time to comment on it. That's all. Connor is one of my admins on the Discord server, so he's doing his job. See, I probably were.
Thanks for your service, Connor.
Yes. And Big Mike Man, the chat goes too quick. You mentioned that you're going to be a police officer soon. You'll probably stop wearing the blue line stuff once you become a police officer. Ben Terry asked you a question about your shirt. I missed it. Oh, where did you get that shirt that says Whiskey Helps? Right, it's grunt style. 90% of the shirts that I wear are grunt style shirts. I like the way they fit. They fit my physique. And this particular shirt, I have 3 versions. I have a teal blue one, I have a white one with green lettering, and I have this one. The teal blue one, I believe I turned into a tank top because it was old and beat up. The white one, I just don't wear it very often because I don't like the way white looks on me. I like the way this one fits. It's soft. Does it look soft? Tell me, Lenny.
Well, they have a grunt style outlet store outside.
Are you serious?
Nebraska, so I'll make sure to pick you up some shirts. What's your size?
Double
Medium?
extra large. These are 2X, man. I can fill a 2X arm. Look at that.
Look at that.
It's not weird.
Fucking weirdo. Give your balls a tug, you tit fucker.
I got to use that on you the other day, and I was very proud of myself. I don't remember what you were yelling at me about. Oh, it was a security guard thing.
I love fucking with you, man.
Yeah, you notice I just stopped because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
I have no feelings.
You do. You're a very sensitive little butterfly.
I'm supple, but I'm not
supple. That's fine. Was there anything else that we wanted to talk? I had this whole idea that we were going to go into this like cool law enforcement video like thing where we talk about good police work. Once again, we talked about trash police for 2 hours.
Hold on a second. She could have been a great cop. She might have given great head. We don't know.
She definitely served her community and served her department well.
Megan Hall, thanks for your service.
Yes, Megan. Thank you for your service. And the one meme I shared earlier was like, thank you for your cervix. I don't think she used that very often. I think she just used her throat. But good for her.
There's some jokes to be made, and I'm going to fucking leave that alone because I'm a gentleman.
It's all right. I think this is a good place to stop it. I think the whiskey is hitting me just to that point where I should stop talking. Do you agree?
I've been there for about a half hour. So,
I can tell. Yeah. You've been kind of quiet. I don't know. We're still sitting at 107, even though we've kind of petered off a little bit.
You said Peter.
I did. It was a good stream. I enjoyed it.
It was a good stream.
The comment section was fun. Yes. Helped that we had a good topic. It was fun. I think that we actually really got somewhere with this. It was interesting. I was surprised. I thought we were just going to be making inappropriate jokes about this woman the entire time, but we kind of came around the fact that she's dealing with some serious stuff and she really needs some help. And while she might have been the aggressor in this situation for much of the time, I think the other guys not only enabled her, but they should have known better. And they bear a lot of responsibility for what happened. So I'm not going to go full on saying that she's like a victim, but I do believe that there's some compassion to be had for her and the situation that she got herself into. Do you disagree with that? Yeah.
No, she fucked up big time, but we've all fucked up big time. She just fucked up with 5 guys.
I think it was 8. It was actually 8, but only 5
lost
got
count.
fired. Yeah.
No, but seriously, like she fucked up. They fucked up. I hope that people on other departments, if you're involved in this kind of shit, fucking clean your act up.
And Nikki, I could watch all day too. Thank you very much.
That's what she said.
Yes. No, it was fun. The stream actually went kind of a different direction than I thought, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't think too much about this before we started, because it's fun kind of feeling out your position as you go. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
On that note, we are out of here. Thank you, everyone that donated. I couldn't say it. Oh, look, we got our first spam account at the very end. We went 2 hours and 30-some minutes before we got one. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and block them now.
Yeah.
But that's funny. It took that long. Anyway, thank you, everyone that donated. I really appreciate you guys sharing your funds with us. That's a big deal to us. It's a big deal to both of us. I mentioned last week you guys fixed Lenny's hot water heater.
You did it.
Yeah, which is no small thing. We really do truly appreciate it. You what?
Never mind. Pigeon is trying to pick on me. You need to fucking do better. I am a fat nerd. Try again, motherfucker.
22 times is the thing. But also, everyone that's here and watching and commenting and liking on the video and then commenting on the live stream once it goes into YouTube world, you're helping out just as much. It wouldn't be fun if the only people that were watching were the people that were paying to watch. So I appreciate all of you. Help us continue this going. When I make the live stream announcements, share them on your social media, share them with your friends, let them know that we are way better than the other cop podcast / YouTube channels that are out there. Because those guys are really, I shouldn't take a full swipe. That's what she said.
I think Mike's done.
I was trying to understand what that was all about.
You know what? I actually sent him a message. I've had some disagreements with that dude over the years, but I was like, that's pretty fucking cool, man. That's some pretty fucking ballsy shit. So we'll see if he does it. So
just straight going to
just straight
real
fucking
estate?
being like, I'm done with it. I actually sometimes I'm like, fuck, man, I kind of wish I was a normal person. I still feel like I live the cop life because I fucking talk shop all the time, but good for him, man.
Yeah. I couldn't find, I saw the initial post and I couldn't find it again where it said goodbye MTC. And I'm assuming that was Mike the cop, and it was written by Chris Fisher.
Mike cop posted it too on it. Somebody shared it with me. So I checked it out. I even sent him a message. I was like, hey man, good for you. So
does that mean that his Fail to Stop podcast is done, or is this the other guy gonna
I don't know.
Take it over?
I don't know.
I don't know what their audience was.
Thank you, Pink. I mean, it'd be good for my business, but I don't know. Some people liked it, so it's fine. I mean, I'm not for everybody. They're not for everybody. There's enough room, I think, for everybody to have their own thing.
Well, it's interesting because they were in a podcast network as well with the Black Rifle Coffee thing.
Oh no, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm independent.
Me too. I don't know anything. I don't understand this question. Jethro is always commenting. I don't understand the question mark. Anyway.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
And I love the fact that when I slap back at people, he's always commenting. Or he always comes to back me up. Yeah. So next week, I think it's fair to say what we're going to do. I'm going to put words in your mouth. We're going to go over some good police work with good, what's the word I'm looking for? Case work behind it. What's the case?
Good case
word?
Law.
Case law. Good police work with good case law behind it.
Man, that's something that would never happen in Colorado, but it was an interesting video to say the least.
The weed one or the car one?
The weed one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have some questions about curtilage, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, well, and I'm not sure if I don't know. We'll talk offline, but we might do that one or the car one because I'm going to do a YouTube video on whichever one we don't cover in a live stream.
Which one's the car one?
The dude in the car that was pulled over by the bicycle cops.
Oh, I don't think I got that far on the list because I didn't think we'd get that far. That's what she said.
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do.
Oh, is that the one where the guy got charged? The cops got charged, or is that a different?
No. This was a Columbus case where the bicycle guys were watching a dope house. They leave a car, or they watch a car leave the dope house. They pulled over. Yeah. There's some interesting comments on that saying that they didn't have PC to search and all that. I thought it's pretty clear cut. The other one is a little bit deeper with the marijuana smell getting into the house.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I might make that one a YouTube video.
We should at some point, maybe not next week, but we should talk about those cops. Was it DC getting charged for the pursuit?
I thought it was Minneapolis. It might have been DC though. That's a good one too. I think we can cover that one in like a half hour.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Anyway, it's time for us to go. Thank you all for joining us. It was fun. I always look forward to Thursday nights. We are out of here. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.